Alright, Dark Koopatrol, we are recording. So the purpose of this tier list is to rank the badges with respect to how useful they are, assuming that you can use them. So we will not be penalizing badges because their availability is not as they're not as available as other badges for some challenges. The idea is that if the badge is available in this challenge, is it advantageous to use it? Like, how good is it in that context?
And in the same vein, it's probably only fair to rank badges that are only useful in niche challenges, such as HP Grade and Pre-SP, for those respective challenges, because otherwise you don't get to use them to their full potential.
Exactly. The challenges we're
Uh,
focusing on are everything that's like pre-hooktail and earlier in the pit.
it,
We are assuming that all glitches are on the table, just no cheats. So that's why the badges you currently see are all the ones that can currently be available without glitches. Maybe in the future we'll be able to add a few, but as of right now, these are the ones that are all RTA viable.
yeah, we might be able to get the failing fines, but currently I don't believe it's possible. Maybe on GP.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say was that when it comes to the badges and their availability, we're assuming that you have all the time and the resources needed to prep. So you have access to unlimited coins through the dried shroom selling method in Westside Rockport. So none of the shop badges are competing with each other. If ever you go to the parlor, we're assuming that you can get as many copies that you want of Super Appeal and Refund. The only exception to all of this is the Dazzled badges, which are always in competition with each other because star pieces are a limited resource.
And of course, we are not ranking badge drops.
No, exactly. Badge drops could be done in a separate tier list, but right now it's really everything that you're guaranteed to have access to for your challenge and that you can plan around.
Yeah.
With
So
this,
do we just start the tier list?
yeah, we can start the tier list. Do these tiers make sense to you? Do you think I should add some or remove some? We can just start with this
Uh,
also.
we can start with this, but I think maybe we might end up adding an E tier.
Okay, that's fair.
I think probably it's best to just start with what we consider to be the best badges roughly, just so that we can get a better idea of where future badges would compare to them. So that would mean that we would start off with Mega Rush P.
I agree. We're going to start with what we're most sure of, and then it'll be easier to compare. So, Mega Rush P, I think we both agree, is probably the best badge that you can get. Whenever Mega Rush P is available, you're probably going to use it, and it's going to be an integral part of your strategy.
Yes, Mega Rush P is the best badge in the game, and it is also the best badge for early pit runs. The exception is if you really need your partner to be alive, and if using Mega Recipe is risky, such as, for example, if you don't have quick change, or if you're doing, say, Coop's only critical pick where you can't really swap partners. But for the most part, those aren't really issues, and even then, it still has strong use cases.
Yes, actually, Mega Rush P is so important that a lot of challenges they're warped around the usage of Mega Rush P to make them even possible in the first place.
And heck, there is only really one challenge that I'm aware of, one mainstream challenge that bans the use of one specific badge. Penny's free pre-click hit, no Mega Recipe.
Yes.
There's no other challenge that bans badges like that, which just goes to show how good Mega Recipe is. It's good on Coots. You use Power Shell and you just deal 7 or I guess 8 damage to everyone on the field. But then also, if you give it to Goombella, she can kill pretty much any enemy with multi-bomb. and the damage that she deals against Bone Tail is huge. 15 damage from Multi-Bonk just accelerates the fight to the point where you don't need to worry about being as good as super guards, just because there's less time to mess up.
No, you're absolutely right that the partners we do have at the beginning of the game, they use Mega Rush P so well because like Goombella has this multi-bonk that, it scales great with Mega Rush P, and then Koops has Power Shell where it's also a multi-hit attack that like the +5 is applied on multiple enemies. So it's really like we also have good partners to use this.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is not controversial take at all. We're putting Mega Rush P at the top. Maybe we can move on to the next badge at this point, which I believe
It is
is Fire Drive. What do you think?
absolutely. There are challenges where you can argue that it's even better than Mega Rush P because Mega Rush P has limitations, right? Because, for example, if you're fighting elite wizards, none of your partners really do too well against them because they just have so much defense.
Yes.
However, Fire Drive, it hits every single enemy and it pierces defense and it has a high starting base power. It does have its drawbacks. It costs 5 FP and its 3 BP is also not as cheap as Mega Rush P, but it's still one of your best moves, which I think makes it just a bit worse than Mega Rush P.
Yes, and Fire Drive being 3 BP and 5 FP is like just enough to be available for like level 1 challenges as well, where it's so good. And
Yeah.
we said Mega Rush P is the best badge for partners. Fire Drive is the best badge for Mario. So really, depending on what challenge, if you use partners or Mario more, I could see maybe the order being switched between the two, but they both definitely deserve to be at the top.
Yeah, and Fire Drive, pretty much in any challenge, if you can use it, you probably will. And its main use case is for defense piercing and against large groups of enemies, but it's even good at single target damage, like you're using Fire Drive in pretty much any solo Mario Bone Tail.
Exactly, and the availability of the Ultra Hammer in a lot of challenges does not make Fire Drive obsolete either.
Yeah, because Ultra Hammer, your hammer only deals single target damage and it does not pierce defense. Uh, and the Ultra Hammer move, the one that deals 3 knockback damage, that's only 3 damage.
Yeah.
And Fire Drive is usually better for that. And also, the Ultra Hammer move does not work on wizards, but Fire Drive does. Ultra Hammer is still very good, of course, and it is especially good because you can use it as first strike. But Fire Drive is still a better move overall, and even against single targets, you're still using it. Like, you're still using it against Bone Tail, for example, even if it is a bit worse.
Exactly. All these badges that are well known to be top, we can talk about them and like not spend too much time on them, I guess. What would be in your mind the third best badge in the game?
Well, for early pick challenges, Quick Change, but only if you pair it with Mega Rush P.
Well, I agree that quick
If you don't
change.
have Mega Rush P, you probably should not be taking Quick Change. It is just not good without that synergy. Not most of the time anyway. But with Mega Burst P, it's very good, because the downside of Mega Burst P is that your partner has to be at 1 HP, so they die at any hit. But with Quick Change, you can just swap to a different partner, and now that 1 HP partner is never taking any attacks whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I agree
So in
with
a
you.
sense, Mega Burst P becomes almost completely safe.
Yes. Yes, that's its main use, I guess, is to make the Mega Rush P strategies safe. And in that sense, if it's helping the best badge in the game, then it deserves to be in the same tier. But I would argue that if you're not using Mega Rush P, it goes from like the most optimal badge in that strategy to maybe the most convenient badge. Um, so maybe we should still give it points for that. Like even if you're not using Mega Rush P, it's really nice to be able to swap partners without using a turn. Like its only main downside is that it costs dazzle star pieces, so there's an opportunity cost there, and 7 BP.
I don't really think that the convenience of it really counts for that much, not in my eyes anyway. However, I do think that it has good utility because even without using it, uh, to like attack with Mega SP, I've still found uses for it where like maybe you're filling out partners with Sweet Treat, and Quick Change allows you to get more actions in to restore more star points, more star power, while also making sure that you always have the right partner in it to be healed.
Hmm. I was thinking of when we were doing our even turn pre-hooktail pit runs. At some point, I had Coops dead, and I would have him out just to be able to to preserve Goombella in the back. And once it came my turn, I would swap him out for Goombella and still retain my turn, even though I wasn't using Mega Rush P. Like it was really nice in the sense that it still protected my partner.
Yeah, absolutely. The utility of it was really good in even turn projectile pit, and there was a lot of situations where we would have it equipped just for that purpose. That
Okay.
being said, I think that this is something that happens a lot more in even turn projectile pit than in other runs. But I still think that for all the reasons that you mentioned, it is worthy of the S tier.
Because we can also discuss that, well, you can always run away, right? If you have the wrong partner out for the loadout, and that is totally valid for most challenges. So is there value in starting with a partner because it's optimal and then swapping to another partner because it has become optimal once we've got rid of certain enemies? Is this really something that quick change helps with?
Not often, for two reasons. First, in a lot of fights, we'll have like a group of flying enemies that only one partner is good against. Say, for example, all Swampires or all Fruitulas. Or then you might have all grounded enemies that you can't jump on. For example, all Piranha Plants or all Spunias. So those challenges, for those loadouts, having multiple partners doesn't really help. But then even in the fights with mixed enemies, where both could be useful, usually you can just use your partner for some enemies and then have Mario handle the rest.
Okay.
Because Mario is very flexible with what he does. And even if you do need to swap your partner later on, usually you can afford to take the turn loss. Because bear in mind, Quick Change, it is 7 VP. That's a lot. And not only that, but it comes at the opportunity cost of not being able to take other Dazzle badges. For example, I don't believe that you can ever take Quick Change and Power Plus.
Um, yes, depending on how many star pieces you bring, it can definitely prevent you from taking Power Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, these are really the top three badges that I'm sure are in S. Do you have any other badge you think could be in S?
No. The next two spots, I think, I'm not sure which one is better, but I think they're both at the top of A. Those are Power Plus and Sleepy Stone.
Okay, so you have an even higher regard for Sleepy Stomp than I have. But I do agree that Power Plus. I was hesitating between even putting this one in S for the simple reason that you get this one for free. If you do the Happy Lucky Lottery, which you should in this tier list, right? We're assuming you get all the resources you want. There's no opportunity cost for this. You get it right away in any challenge.
That is true, but bear in mind it still does cost 6 BP, that's a lot. And the upside is only 1 point of damage, which does matter, but it's not as big of a difference as the plus 5 for Mega SP or Fire Drive or Quick Change keeping your partner alive for Mega SP.
You're saying it's not as much of a game changer, which I guess I agree with. Like a lot of challenges could probably have been done without Power Plus, even though they'd be harder. But a lot of challenges are done with Mega HP and Fire Drive. Like if you remove this, it's a different ball game, you know.
Yeah, and in certain situations, the extra Power Punch Power Plus might not even matter because dealing more damage only helps if it lets you kill an enemy faster.
Yes, if
Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
it's great, but I do think that it only serves to be A for that reason. And usually Mario is better than the partner, which is why Power Plus is ranked above Power Plus P, as well as the fact that you get a free Power Plus from the lottery.
yes. So I guess yeah, I guess it's got its place there. It's still a super strong badge that you'll probably have equipped, you know, as soon as you can. But maybe you equip it after you're equipping the top three badges.
Well, not necessarily early on. Maybe like early on, those best badges aren't as necessary, but you will definitely be prioritizing those top three badges over Power Plus once you get to fights where they might be more important.
Okay. And I guess we'll move on now to Sleepy Stomp, which you have really high. In my mind, it was more of a B tier badge, but I'll put it here in A, and you can share your thoughts.
So the reason why I think it's so good is because it only costs 1 BP. That's cheap. It's essentially filler. It only costs 2 FP, which is relatively cheap. And then it is your best option most of the time for almost any aerial enemy. Like Dark Lactus, put them to sleep. Uh, Swampires, put them to sleep. Poison Puffs, you can put those to sleep. When an enemy is asleep, it's not attacking you. You don't have to super guard it. So that just takes a lot of pressure off of you. And it's not guaranteed. For example, Poison Puffs, it's only a 65% chance, but the gamble is still worth it, and it outclasses other options such as Power Jump, and a lot of the time Power Bounce as well.
I will say that yes, in challenges that are pre-Hooktail, you know, it has competition from Power Bounce, and in challenges that are before that, in Prologue, yes, I'm sure I agree it's a great badge. But once you get into pre-SP territory and your FP is limited, like this is not guaranteed to work. So that's why I didn't view it as highly as you do.
That is true. In 3XP challenges, it is a bit worse because while Sleepy Stomp is cheap, you'll often be needing to use it a lot, which makes it an inefficient.
Yes. So
So it's not as good in PSP challenges, but it still does have its place in PSP, and I still do think it's pretty good outside of one. So I do think it is A, especially because even in PSP, it's not like it's terrible or anything. It's still B minimum in PSP.
yeah, and I guess it can also like kind of save you if a dangerous enemy that you can't defeat in a turn has a dangerous item, and you can like run away until you apply the sleep. Like you can guarantee a sleep with the runaway method.
Yes. And this is a bit later on, but I know that you also rank Spike Shield highly. Sleepy Stomp is 100% better than Spike Shield because they pair together nicely.
I agree that they pair together really nicely. But I was thinking of instead of continuing with the top badges, we can go to the F tier badges, which I think we're also like it's pretty clear to us
Flower
what should
Saver,
be
Flower
there.
Saver, Flower Saver.
And I
I don't
agree.
care. I hate them.
I agree. Flower Saver is an F tier badge, and this is gonna ruffle some feathers. But
I
it's
don't care. I am the number one Flower Saver hater. Let me explain why.
go ahead.
Flower Saver is its main competition is FP plus, or I guess just an FP level. That is 3 BP or 5 FP. Flower Saver only becomes better than that once you use an attack with one character 5 times. And even when that does happen, you still need to have enough XP in the first place to use that attack that many times. So it's not really a matter of using it instead of upgrading your FP. It's first you upgrade your FP, and then either you upgrade it some more, or then you equip Flower Saver. But then at that point, do you really need to upgrade it at all? Plus, if you have any sort of FP healing, that could also make Flower Saver not good. And Flower Saver excels in longer fights, but in longer fights you have more opportunities to heal your FP. Plus, aside from the high cost, 4BP is a lot, it also costs 10 star pieces.
That's
And
absurd, by
that's
the way. So
yes,
expensive.
there are so many better, cheaper badges that you can't buy from Dazzle if you get it. First of all, we've already mentioned two great Dazzle badges, Power Plus and Quick Change, but then there's also the partner variant, Power Plus P. But then there's also Item Hog, which is good. There's Pretty Lucky. In certain challenges, the Happies are good. Happy Card P, Happy Flower, and Heart Finder and Flower Finder, while a bit more situational, are still good as well, especially Heart Finder. All of those are better than the Flower Savers.
I mean, I'm completely in agreement with you. I always found that this badge was really overrated. I think that 4 BP, like if it was 3 BP, maybe you could find a way to fit it into like level 1 challenges, but 4 BP just bars you from that. So it's already that's like a strike against it when all the other FP badges are 3 or below, right? We're talking Happy Flower, Flower Finder, the FP plus, and it's got just so much competition. And in addition to that, it only applies to Mario, where Mario's attacks are FP heavy, like Fire Drive, going from 5 to 4. Like it's still expensive. Like you're still with let's say you have 5 FP max, like you're only using one either way. And even if you have 10 FP, you're still only using two. Like it's not giving you an extra Fire Drive there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
In an example, you only get an extra fire drive once you use it 5 times or so,
yeah,
which is just not good. And also, a better way of improving your FP economy is by just simply using FP moves less times, and you can accomplish that by dealing more damage, which you can accomplish by equipping Power Plus.
yes. Which you can't do if you're taking this badge because it's so damn expensive, star piece wise.
Precisely. So, if you think that it's decent in other contexts, fine. That's not what this is about. In the context of early pit, I think it's absolutely awful.
All right. So I'm glad we're on the same page on this one. The next badge I had in the F tier, which I think is even worse than this badge, worse than Flower Saver, is Unsimplifier. And I put this
Yes.
one here for multiple reasons. First, we're going to start off. How does it help you? Well, it increases your ratings by 1 when it comes to action commands. And
What that effectively means is that your action command multiplier increases from, if you're using jump, it's 4, and increases it to 4.5. It's always an additive plus 0.5 multiplier.
yes, and in a lot of cases, all you care about is since you only have one possible unit of star power, like 1 gauge. What really matters is it full or not, right? It's really an all or nothing. You're not filling it over multiple turns. You want to make sure, well, can I fill it in one turn? Can I fill it in 2 turns? And I don't think this helps much in that sense. And the price you pay for this slight bonus that's also hard to plan around because the audience is very fickle is that, well, first of all, runaways become really hard. You lose 1 frame of super guard and one of guarding as well, but losing 1 frame of super guard is a huge penalty to pay.
Absolutely, you only get 3 frames to start with. I think that down to only 2 just makes everything significantly harder.
Yeah, you get
And
you get harder action commands for, well, for everything, but most notably your power bounce and Goombella's multi-bonk. They just get crippled because you're gonna get an excellent rating 1 bounce faster, but you'd get an excellent anyways if you weren't using it. So you're just reducing your maximum damage output for the same amount of star power at the end.
yeah, I should note with Power Bounce and Multi-Bomb, the downside of Unsummoned Fire isn't actually that bad. Uh, the first frame perfect bounce is the 7th bounce instead of the 8th bounce, so it's a 1 bounce difference. But that is still a downside. But the really big thing is your super guards are harder, and it barely has any upsides to begin with. Like, the bonus to SP is very, very minor.
Very mild. And for real, the runaways are also harder, which can make or break it. If you fail a runaway, this could end your run on the spot.
Yeah, I do think that the runaway is less of a big deal, because while running away is an integral part of playing pit runs, you can, I think, plan around it. Because, for example, you can start the battle without Unsimplifier on, maybe you can have Simplifier on, and then once you decide what you want to do with that battle, then you can equip Unsimplifier and then start the battle. But still, there are some situations where you might want to run away after that. Then you get in a bad situation, and then your best bet is to restart the battle.
Hmm.
Either way, I agree, it is terrible.
Do you agree that it's below Flower Saver?
Yes, and also real quick, I would put Flower Saver P right above Flower Saver.
And I'm gonna disagree with you on this. I think it's a tier above, and I'll tell you why. I used Flower Saver P in one of my runs, in the disabled BP only run for pre-Hooktail Pit. I used Flower Saver P because it allowed me to use multi-bonk and to use Shell Shield twice with 5 FP. And I think that it really made a difference because Mario was 1 hit from death all the time. So I needed to make sure I always had like a Shell Shield on, and I could appeal to get my SP back. It would take a turn. So it was really nice to always have, like, to have it cost 2 FP instead of 3. It made a difference in that sense. And I think for me it was enough to put it in D because I could see a use for it, while these F tier badges, I just can't see a use for them.
So I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that, because flower savers are good, specifically in the context of BP only, where their main competition is banned.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if you are actually able to upgrade FP, which you usually are, then they're not good. Like, flower savers are good in the context of BP only, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, do you think it's enough to put it in D, or do you still think it's an F?
I think it's an F, but we can revisit it later.
All right, I'll put it in F for now.
Also, real quick, Flower Saver P does not have to use an extra shell shield at 5 FP.
So yeah, it was probably multi-bonk and the power shells that it was. Sorry, it was able to use a multi-bonk and to use shell shield in the, like, with 5 FP. It was.
I get it.
Yeah.
You can use one and then the other.
Yeah, but you're right. You can't use 2 shell shields with only 1. If ever in the future, through glitches, we're able to get that other, Flower Finder P, sorry, Flower Finder, Flower Saver P, that's available in the Rogue Poach sewers for free, maybe it'll play favorably, but even then, it probably won't go up that much.
Yeah, Flower Saver P is not a good badge on its own merits, and then it's only crippled by the fact that that it has opportunity costs due to not being able to buy Dazzle badges. But
Yes.
just getting it for free isn't enough to make it good.
Yeah. So man, like you're really not a fan of these Flower Savers.
No.
um, the next badge I had like as one of the worst was Pity Flower, but I had
Yeah.
it also in the D tier for the fact that when you're in pre SP and you're desperate for FP, you can always use it like for with a first strike on a spiky enemy or a fiery enemy, or getting first struck and then gain your HP back with HP drain. Like you could technically get as much FP as you want, which is a very slow process, but if you're just a few off of getting a fire drive, it could be worth doing.
Or not even just if you're a few off, but what if you're in a situation where you don't just want FP, but you need it in order to even damage enemies?
Yes. Yeah, you have no choice. You have to start grinding.
For example, let's say that you're doing a run with Drybones and you're out of FP, you have to use Pity Flower, or your run ends.
Yeah. I think people view it very negatively because, well, it's unreliable, which is true, and they treat it as a filler badge. And as a filler, yeah, it sucks, but you can build a strategy, well, build a strategy. You can use it optimally in cases where you really need FP, and this is the only badge in pre-SP really that you're guaranteed to have that will give you FP.
Yeah, in JP, there is Zero Hitbox, which does allow you to get FP Drain, but that's not possible on US or EU.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is
And I don't think we're really ranking JP.
no, I was gonna say like we're really ranking challenge runs that we've done, you and me, which are on the US version of the game.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of differences with JP that can alter stuff. Like, for example, there's a bunch of attacks that you can't superguard, and heck, pre speed probably isn't even feasible, really. Not
Mm-hmm.
that much. At least not the harder variants of it. Maybe normal is.
So I'm just gonna put it in D.
Yeah. I will say in certain challenges, it can also be, you can also use it as filler against Bone Kill, but it's still really bad at that role and often won't even get you a single extra fire drive.
You're right, but I was thinking of remember when you did your paper cuts no ultra hammer challenge. You had when you were fighting Bonetail, you had a multiple. You had FP where you had four remaining, and you didn't really know what to do with it. So we did like two piercing blows or two power smashes. But if we had this on, we could have had an extra fire drive because we would have probably gotten an extra FP some point in the fight.
Theoretically, it goes banned in that challenge, but theoretically, if you had that sort of situation, you could use it theoretically.
Yeah. So for the cases that since there are situations where it's an optimal badge, it cannot be an F.
Yeah. And also, you always get Pity Flower.
Yes, there's no cost associated with it. It's not a dazzle badge. The next badge I had above it was close call, which I don't know. What do you think? Am I ranking it too low, or does it have its place here?
I think that, well, it's either close call or refund, I think.
Okay, okay, I agree with you. Like it,
Or actually, maybe damage dodge. Uh, Hard to say. I
the
think damage dodge, close call, refund are the next three.
I mean, they were all D tier for me, so I can put them right now and we can reorder them as we see fit. So it was damage dodge, I agree, and refund. I'll put, yeah, okay, I'll put refund at the end for now. And we can reorder everything as we go through. So, you know what? Let's start talking about refund first since it's the first one
So
after
refund,
cauliflower.
it gives you 75% of the base price, which increases by an additive 5% for each copy. So the second copy gives you 80%, the third gives you 85%, and so on. It stacks really poorly, but if you're in a fight where you have to use items, you'll often be able to unequip a bunch of badges anyway. So it's actually advantageous to buy a lot of copies because you'll have a lot of spare BP.
Exactly. It has no use in the 90s because you cannot find Charlieton anymore. Well, maybe if you're really low on cash, it could help you with a mover, I guess, if you can't afford one. Uh, but yeah, it's kind of a badge that is good if you get Charlieton, if you get movers, but they can decide to not appear at all, and so it won't help you at all in your pit run.
Yeah, it's not that good, but it does have its place. Next up is close call.
And just before you go to close
Uh,
call, I wanted to mention the fact that this is one of the two badges that you can stack as many as you want, literally. Um,
yeah, the other is super appeal.
yes, which has no reason to stack more than three, but we'll get to that. I just want to say that refund. There's nothing stopping you from having 5 pages full of refunds in your badge list, and maybe you're going to be the one that makes it work and gets crazy value off of it. But I think, yeah, maybe there is potential if you just stack a lot of them and you have enough BP. Maybe it becomes good.
Maybe. Next up is close call. Close call gives you 33% evasion if you're at 5 HP or lower. So having 33% evasion when you're at low HP, the issue with this is that it's unreliable, and if you're going to die when you're at low HP, probably you want to heal out a bit, and if you have the option to use Last Stand, then that's also better. But if you do have Last Stand, then you could pair it with it. You just get the evasion when you're at low HP.
Yeah, if
And Close Call is really cheap for the highest evasion out of any badge. Admittedly, you'll probably have the other evasion badges on at the same time, and that means that the bonus from Close Call is lower than it would be if you only use Close Call, but it's still not bad.
no, and I agree with what you're saying. Where like if you only have one BP, probably better off with last stand most of the time. But if you combine both last stand and close call, then it could have some use. It's just you don't want to be in that situation for long. Like you don't want Mario at low HP um, for long. I was thinking of something else about close call. It kind of popped out of my mind. Like compared to other evasion badges, where evasion is like it's always helping you. This one, like you can't really plan around it. Like, oh, I want to remain at 5 HP and maybe I'll get saved by close call. Like that, that's a very bad strategy and it's gonna get you killed.
Yeah, a lot of people rank Close Call better than the other evasion badges for the fact that it's cheap and gives the best evasion chance. However, in practice, the other evasion badges are better because you can use them before you get to low HP, and then their practical overall evasion chances are actually higher because you get more opportunities to use it. Because you're going to spend a lot more time over 5 HP than under 5 HP.
Yes, it can definitely save your run though. It could be, and you'll never know, right? Because you'll probably have other evasion badges, but it could be the reason you didn't die in a very dire situation. I
Close
think,
Call is only good as filler, but it's not bad as filler.
yeah,
And also, I want to mention is Close Call can help you even if you're at 1 HP. If you're at 1 HP, Last Stand does not help you whatsoever, but Close Call always has that chance to save you.
that's
So in some
true.
situations, it can actually be better.
So if you're doing some kind of mega rush run, like close call will be your go-to badge compared to last stand. And I
Yeah.
think that close call would also be much better if you could have two last stands, the same way you can have two last stand Ps. Because then it'd be safer
Possibly.
to remain at 5 HP. But that is not the world we live in. Next, we're going to talk about not defend plus, but damage dodge.
Damage dodge, it gives you one more defense if you guard at the cost of 2 BT. There's a couple issues of this. First off, it does not increase the amount of damage you reduce when you guard. Instead, it gives you an extra point of defense when you guard. The difference is that there are certain attacks that can pierce defense, such as, for example, Bone Chilled Breath. If such an attack is used and you guard it, the attack's damage is still reduced. But if you have defense, that defense is ignored, so damage dodge does not actually help with these attacks at all. And there's a few of them. I mentioned Bone Chilled Breath. There's also Wizard Beam. There's also various charge attacks with all the puffs. And then there's also the Swampire and Swoopula.
And the Amazy Daisy.
Well, yeah, but
You
I
should
don't
be
really care
guarding
about
that.
that.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of enemies where this doesn't actually help at all. But then there's the even bigger drawback that you actually have to guard.
Yes.
In almost every pitch challenge, you are attempting to super guard. And if you're super guarding, then you're not taking any benefit from damage dodge. Now, there are some situations where you can guarantee that you live with a guard, and that is when you want to use it. And if you have damage dodge, then there are some more situations where that can appear. But overall, I don't think it's very good.
I think if you want Mario to be safe and you're like you're in a challenge that does not have super cards, you're probably better off using Shell Shield than damage dodge.
I think that of these three badges, damage dodge is the worst.
I think it's the worst, eh?
Yeah, it has more strategic potential, but you just don't use it that often just because super guarding is such a great option.
In defense of damage dodge, I will say that if you're scared of the frost piranha plants, and you're just going to guard them, and maybe you have Zap Tap on to help deal damage as well, like that could be worth it in that sense. Like, but it's really the only battle I can think of where I'd be scared to super guard and would go for a guard.
Maybe, but even then, close call has a chance to save you in any battle, pretty much. It's not guaranteed, but it can happen. And then refund has the opportunity to give you extra thunder rages in a pitch run.
Okay, so I mean, I see your arguments, and then yeah, I'll put it above Pity Flower though. Agreed.
I'm fine. I think it's debatable if you're in a 3S speed run, but I also don't care much. Though, at the same time, damage dodge at the moment is only obtainable in pre-hook kill runs.
Yes.
So in pre-hook kill runs, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. It's just also damage dodge. At least it's reliable, while it stays that, man, Pity Flower is still unreliable, man.
Between close call and refund, I'm not sure. Refund has the opportunity to give you extra thunder rages, which is a pretty big deal. But in order for that to even happen, you need to get two Charlie Chins. And then you also need to use items between those two Charlatans. And then the amount that you get has to be enough for one Thunder Rage, which, depending on how many items you use and how late Charlatan appears, might not actually be the case.
But
Like,
there,
for example, if Charlatan appears for the second time on floor 90, and then Thunder Rages are, what, 200?
yeah, on 90, yeah.
You may or may not actually get an extra Thunder Rage.
But I wanted to say that there are ample scenarios where you would use items before the 90s, not as if you just stock them all up and then just splurge in the 90s.
Yeah.
70s have a lot of enemies that you'd want to use items on, and maybe 80s to a lesser extent.
I think that usually your items are best spent in the 90s, but you are right that there are situations where you would use items. The main ones being family members, any enemy with, say, a stopwatch, a problematic item in general, I guess. Uh,
But
Battles where you're getting low and you just need to end it as soon as possible. And depending on the challenge, dry bones, mainly
yes,
in PSP challenges.
yes, those were exactly the enemies I was thinking of. Um, yes, and in the 50s, I was thinking if to not get soft locked by the badge bandits. I don't know why you wouldn't have Zap Tap on, but maybe it could also save your ass in that scenario.
Uh, I don't know, but yeah. I think
So should I
close
put it
call.
above? Should I put this one above?
I, I think it's debatable. I think just because there's a lot of factors that make refund unreliable, like you need two Charlatans in the first place, then you need to use enough items between them in order to afford a second Thunder Rage, uh, and the sell price of Thunder Rages, I don't think it's even that high, relatively speaking. I think because of that, I will rank Close Call above Refund, because Close Call is a pillar badge that is good generally. You can use it in any battle. It has the opportunity to save your run, and Refund is only good in specific situations, and you may or may not even get a return on it. But if you do get extra Thunder Rages, that could absolutely make it better than Close Call. I think it's arguable.
Okay. Okay. Let's keep it as is for now. I'm thinking, do you want to hop back to the top or do you want to continue the bad
Let's go
badges?
back up to the top.
All right. What do you think about FP Plus?
Are we talking about FP levels or specifically the
The
badge?
badge.
I don't think the badge is actually all that good.
You don't think
Because
it should
while
be
the
that high?
flexibility is nice to have, I don't think you actually lose that much by just upgrading FP instead.
All right. We can keep it in our back pocket for later. What would be, in your mind, the next A tier badge?
Can you scroll down a bit?
Yep.
This needs context, but either Lucky Day or The Last Stands.
Okay. Wow. You're really putting them high up. I had both of those in a tier below. But
Maybe hard to say.
I'll put them all on top and then we can move them and discuss.
You can always move them down.
So both last hands, right?
Yeah.
And Lucky Day. And once again, we're assuming that you get one free at the beginning from the lottery and you get a second one on floor 90.
Yeah. So with The Last Stands, I think that they're A tier with the context that you only have 10 HP.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a run where you can fully upgrade HP, then they become a lot worse.
You know, I think I'm going to put Lucky Day above them just for that because Lucky Day is like it's always good.
Yeah. So and then there's also challenges where you upgrade your partner, and then if you do that, then they'll also have more HP, so then last stand might not be as good. I think putting them in B tier is fair, but I do want to add that they are amazing when you have 10 HP.
Yeah, it's just I wish they were available sooner, man. Like in pre SP, I would use them all the time. The fact that they're also stuck to pre Hooktail, it's like in pre Hooktail. No, in Prologue too, right? Do you get them in Prologue?
Yeah, the badge shop opens as soon as you get two trees.
And you get
And
both, right?
actually, I rank them as the third and fourth best badges in level 1 Polar Pit.
Okay. Okay.
And I do want to add that, as well as 10 HP challenges, the last stands become better in challenges with Sweet Treat. With a big example of that being that in any challenge with Sweet Treat, if you can use Last Stand, you can survive indefinitely.
Is Last Stand P better than Last Stand because you get two of them?
Absolutely. Not just because there's two of them, but also your partner in a challenge where you're upgrading Mario's HP, your partner's HP is going to stay lower. And also in a challenge like Level 1 Twilight Pit for both Mario and Goombella only have 10 HP. I still put Last Stand HP above Last Stand because either one of them dying is equally valuable. You're losing a life term either way. And there are situations where you might want to put Goombella in front, such as, for example, if you want to tackle Sweet Treat.
Okay.
So I'm fine with putting them in B tier. I think that's more than fair, actually.
Like they were the top of B tier for me. The first, yeah.
Yeah,
In that they were exactly in this order and they were the top of B.
I would put them in B, but I think that there are situations where they are A.
But you're telling me that there are challenges that I haven't done yet where they're essential. So maybe they do deserve to be an A because of that. All right, I'll keep it an A for now. And I'm also thinking that in the future, maybe we'll be able to visit Chet Repo early, and like Last Stand is going to be a must-have in that case, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Check Repo is almost possible. Uh, I believe that what we're missing is just zero hitbox.
It could be done with Walk on Air.
Wait, but didn't that also need a super jump? And I'm not sure how you get a super jump there.
No, you don't need Super Jump. I I'll post a video on my channel.
Okay, I'm mistaken. So I thought you needed super jump to leave.
No, no, you. If you step on the pipe in the background, it gives you enough height to just walk back to
Oh,
the
right, that was the
door.
strategy.
Yeah.
I remember. So yeah, check repo. Aaron walk on air is theoretically possible. We have made a setup, it's just nobody has yet gone around to doing it, but it's probably possible.
Yeah.
And walk on air would let you do that. But as of now, we're not ranking it with that in mind.
I'm looking at the badges that I ranked, and what do you think about putting Item Hog in A as well?
I would be fine with that. I think in most challenges, you're actually using a UPOG more than the last. Well, maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm thinking that the items you get, like the POW blocks, are a lifesaver for the 70s. The what's it called? The fright mask can also save you in the 90s. The dried shrooms, if you're doing any Mega Rush P stuff, they can also save you. And compared to Heartfinder, where you only get rewarded at the end of the battle, you could lose your partner in battle, run away, give him the mushroom, and then enter the battle again.
Yeah. Item fog is unreliable, but over the course of an entire hit run, you're likely to get a bunch of items, and the items that you get can be quite good. Not all of them, but even the less good items are still useful. And the simple fact is that even one item can have a pretty big impact.
Yeah, even fire flowers are, they can be a good drop, you know.
So the question is, are we better than the last stands? I think probably not.
I don't think so. Okay. I mean,
I
you made a
think
strong case for them with the 10 HP challenges.
I think it depends. And if you're upgrading Mario's HP a bunch in like a free SP challenge, then I could absolutely see item fog over normal last stand anyway. But just because last stand is very good for just letting you live.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're at low HP, last stand is what you really want. There's situations where either you don't have a lot of max HP, or where you have sweet treat, where last stand is very good. So yeah, I think putting them right below it is fair, and I do think probably it is B tier.
How about we put it at the very end of A? Because for me, it's a tier above the other finders.
I don't agree, but we can keep it as it's for now.
Okay. And also, I just realized that we kind of skipped over Lucky Day. We didn't talk about it really.
Yeah. There isn't too much to talk about. It's 7 BP for 25% evasion. You can buy one, so you can get one from the lottery, and then you can get a second one on floor 90 of the pit.
Yes, in
It
challenges.
is
Sorry. Go ahead.
uh, it increases your survivability by a pretty decent amount because it works similarly to upgrading HP in a way because if you get hit, there's such a chance that doesn't damage you, and the expected value throughout an entire run means that effectively you have 25% more HP.
Yes,
Uh,
it also really improves the your healing from Sweet Treat because if you're healing 7 HP, but you're expected to take twice as long to lose 7 HP, right? Let's say you're stacking evasion, then it's kind of like you healed 14 HP in that sense. It improves your healing as well.
yeah, and in a challenge where you don't have healing, Lucky Day can be less efficient than just straight up upgrading HP. But even in such a situation, it can be still a good idea because also lets you dodge secondary effects that can be crippling. Like for example, Bone Tail has Ice Breath. If you get hit by that or Sleep Breath, then you're guaranteed to be taking at least one more attack. But if you dodge that with evasion, then you don't have to deal with that at all.
Yeah, and it lets you dodge the bite too. Like this is the only way is with evasion. If you find yourself in a
And
bad situation against the bulky bob-ombs, maybe evasion is all you got.
yeah, and I do want to mention evasion does get better the longer, like I think it's better later in the pit, just because cats deal more damage. I guess if we're talking about average return, it might not matter as much. Whatever. But you also get the second lucky day in on for MIT anyway.
Yes.
And I do think that upgrading HP in the first place is very good. So even if it's just an alternative to that, that alone makes it good.
Now, in my ranking, Pretty Lucky and Lucky Day were next to each other because they essentially had the same role. You get as many, right? You can easily get two Pretty Luckies. You also get one for free, just like Lucky Day. It's just that Pretty Lucky had a better return on BP evasion wise, and also Pretty Lucky is just less committal to equip. Like it's you can equip Pretty Lucky as filler, but Lucky Day is I can't really see you equipping it as filler. Like, you're planning around it and you're sacrificing something for it.
At the same time, because Lucky Day has a higher impact, that does make Lucky Day the better badge, even if it's less efficient. And you're not actually going to be getting enough pretty luckies for you to be equipping a bunch of pretty luckies instead of one lucky day. You only get the one free pretty lucky plus the second one that you can buy from Dazzle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that pretty lucky is right below item hog for me. I don't think that I would really buy pretty lucky instead of item hog, especially with diminishing returns. I believe that if you have two lucky days and one pretty lucky, if you compare that to if you compare that to two lucky days and two pretty luckies, that's a difference of 5% evasion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that item hog is better than that. So I don't really think that buying pretty lucky is better than buying something else instead of it, though pretty lucky is cheap. And
This
I
is
do
a
think that
thought.
it is a decent badge. I think it's good, but I would still put it below item hog.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is something to consider, and you're absolutely right. Is that pretty lucky does come at an opportunity cost. Sometimes you're gonna, if you have the choice between pretty lucky and item hog, I do also think that item hog is probably the better choice. While the lucky day, you just get it, right? There's no strings attached. Um, I also wanted to say that even though we're not really counting this in our ranking, pretty lucky is the most likely batch to drop in the pit. So you could probably get another one, but we are not going to really take this into account in our ranking. So do you think
Yeah,
that pretty lucky should be a tier below lucky day because of what
I
what
do
you
think
said?
so, yes.
You think it could be the top of B, or it's not even the top of B?
I think some of the batches in A could be dropped below it, but I think that uh, it could very well be better than all of the unranked badges so far.
Let me
Maybe
show.
Power Plus P, I'm not sure,
I'm
but
thinking
for
this
now we can put it
one.
at the top of B.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put in top of B for now. Because let me tell you, I've been stacking pretty luckies for another challenge, and oh boy, does it make a difference. um, I think that
What do you
power.
think about that, Matt?
I was gonna put power plus P. Like, I thought power plus P was sorely lacking. I had it in A tier in my own ranking.
Maybe the issue is how often are you choosing it over Power Plus? Like Power Plus P, it's an amazing badge, but what matters is the opportunity cost, and I think opportunity cost hurts Power Plus a lot, or Power Plus P.
I see what you're saying, and I agree that. Listen, you already have 5 attack with Mega Rush P, right? Do you really need a 6 one for 6 times the BP? But if you're doing a challenge where Mario's disabled, like, this is your go-to badge from Dazzle, you know?
Yeah, but how often is that the case? Let's say that you have the ability to attack with both Mario and partner. How often are you choosing Power Plus P instead of Power Plus?
Well, a situation where that happened was War Spy's Jumpman challenge, remember? And we did find use for Power Plus P because it worked well with Goombella, allowing her to attack Bonetail when not in peril.
That is for let's say that Mario has no like attacking restrictions.
But yeah, if Mario has no attacking restrictions, I do agree that Power Plus is the way to go.
Yeah, so because of that, I can't agree with A.
Okay.
I think that I can still agree to rank it highly, just for the simple fact that even if you take it over Power Plus, it might not be as good, but it's still good. You're not losing out on that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I would put it in B at the highest personally, and I could see it dropping lower, but for now I'm happy with B.
Okay. Okay.
it's kind of hard to rank how much opportunity cost hurts.
But yeah, you're right. Currently there's no way for you to have these two uh, in a challenge unless you're going after chapter 1 and maybe you're in a chapter 2, chapter 3 challenge. But as of pre-Hooktail, you always have to choose between these two, and you can't have both.
Yeah, so I guess actually with current progress, don't we actually get 29 star pieces pre-Hooktail?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess actually what I said about Power Plus and Quick Change, you can't actually get both in certain challenges. My bad. But still, they cost a lot of star pieces. That point still stands.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about ZapTap, which I'm happy to see you bring up. I feel like the Glitzbit community has a very low view of ZapTap, but I tend to leave it on for a big chunk of the pit. So,
Yeah, so here's the thing with ZapTap. ZapTap is a niche badge. One recoil damage when you take damage, that's not all that good. But that one recoil damage can have effects that can be good. And what I'm talking about is, say that you're fighting vampires. If they attack Mario with ZapTap, they can't. They don't deal any damage and instead take that one recoil damage.
mm-hmm.
So the damage itself isn't actually what's making it good in this situation. It's the fact that Mario is invincible to this one enemy.
Yep.
This is also the case to Koopalas, which is a big deal. This is also the case with Flower Fuzzies, which is not really a big deal. But on top of all that we've mentioned, that also prevents badge bandits from stealing badges, which I think is a very big deal.
Yes.
So already that's three major enemies, badge bandits, Koopalas, Swampires, that you'll always want to have Zaptap equipped for. And then there are some certain enemies where you actually want Zaptap for recoil damage.
Like the
The
spiky
main one being Spiky
parabuzzies.
Parabuzzies.
Yeah.
But there are some niche situations, such as against Phantom members, where you may or may not want Zaptap.
Yeah. For the badge bandits in particular, it allows you to go for super guards where you'd probably just go for guards if you didn't have it.
Yeah.
So,
It is absolutely niche. It's only good in certain situations. But it is good in those situations where it is good. So I think probably I would put it right below Pretty Lucky.
okay. And, you know, just make sure you unequip it before Bonetail. And with that 3 BP, you can put Pity Flower.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm really glad to see it high up here because I also think that making, this 5 Swampire floor just free when it could be a nightmare if you don't have it is definitely a big plus for this badge.
Admittedly, it does not affect the partner, but it's still good.
Yeah. Okay, I think that we haven't put them yet, but 2 badges I had that were high up were Hammerman and Mega Rush. Do you think they have their place in the B tier?
Uh, let's start with Hammerman first.
Okay.
So I think that Hammerman is good. It's a cheaper Power Plus. That's very good. It affects Fire Drive, your best move. The downside is that you can't jump,
Mm-hmm.
which is awkward for certain fights. Uh, like for example, you'll want to jump on like Poison Puffs and Tarantulas.
Yeah.
You can even deal a decent amount of damage to that Power Plus with it on due to Jump's good scaling, and you can't use stuff like Sleepy Stomp. So you're never equipping Hammerman all the time, but there are still some fights where it is good. And I would say if you have Ultra Hammer, then that makes Hammerman even better
Yes.
than if you didn't have Ultra Hammer. If you don't have Ultra Hammer, I think Hammerman would be significantly worse. But if you bring it with Ultra Hammer in mind, I think that it would be at least above Zapcam.
This is a badge that there's no reason really not to equip it against Bone Tail, assuming you don't have. Um, well, I mean, even if you have power bounce, I could still see you using Fire Drive against Bone Tail because you're not getting capped. Um,
I'm not sure how good you think it is. I'm thinking maybe right above or right below Pretty Lucky. I think that Item Hog is better, but that's debatable.
I mean, I had it in A tier, so really I don't mind putting it above Pretty Lucky.
Alright, let me just take a quick look at your tier list. Yeah, apparently you had it like right above Item Hog.
Yeah. I mean, should it be?
I could see it.
I think I'm gonna put it just because you're right that it's not useful in every scenario. But I mean, as long as you can run away, you can just scout out. Is this a Hammerman floor? Is this gonna help me? There's also, I was thinking of certain loadouts where if you have both power pluses and Hammerman, you can one round loadouts that you couldn't otherwise. Like, that loadout where you have one Dark Lackey 2 and one Dark Wizard. You can just deal 9 damage to the Lackey 2 and 3 damage to the Wizard, right? With Ultra Hammer first strike.
Yeah, then your Ultra Hammer deals 9 damage, minus the 2 defense. That perfect kills the Dark Wizard, dealing 7 damage.
Exactly, and Goombella deals 4 to the Dark Lackey 2. So like there's no shenanigans with the Wizards or the Dark Lackey 2.
Yeah, I don't even need any FP.
And also, do you remember when we were discussing about, and not even discussing, you put it in practice, when you were going up against 4 bulky Bob-Bombs, and you only had 3 BP, like Ultra Hammer with Hammerman is all you need on in level 1 to beat the 4 bulky Bob-Bombs.
Yeah, I think this was specifically level 1 3 SP, which is admittedly a very specific challenge, but I do agree with the point you're making. Yeah, I'm fine with putting it above Item Hog. I'm not sure about the last stand, and I do want Item Hog put in B.
You'd really want me to put it in B, right?
I mean, I think so. I mean, at the very least, I do think, I mean, I guess it's arguable. I feel like maybe Power Plus and Sleepy Sound are a full tier above Hammerman and Item Hog.
Because I wanted to say
Okay,
that.
at the very least, Hammerman maybe A. Item Hog, I do think it's B.
I was doing some level 1 pre-SP runs that sadly didn't make it through, but from floors 50 to 70, I have 3 BP, and I'm putting on Item Hog for those 20 floors, Just, and I feel like in any run, Item Hog is probably going to give you one item that is gonna help you. Like it's, I don't see Item Hog being a dud in a whole pit run.
That is true, but B badges are still good, so I think B is fair.
Okay.
But top of B.
Okay. Next, I like what we were talking about Mega Rush. Do you think it's still too early to talk about it?
I mean, we can talk about it. The thing with Mega Rush, though, is I don't think it's actually amazing, just because it's like Mega Rush P, but even more risky.
Yes.
And I think if you can avoid it, the risk is not worth it, but there are situations where it can be good. I think probably it's worthy of B tier.
I was going to say there are situations where the only way out is through Mega Rush.
Yeah, that is true. We had that with Rivals in the past.
Yes. And because of that, like it's your Joker. It's extremely risky, especially if you don't have life shrooms. Right? Just compared to Mega Rush P, where not only can you always swap out your partners, but like Koops also has one defense, right, against the stage hazard or anything. Like Mario is, you can't increase his defense. So
But also, in that situation, there are cases where you can heal up afterward with either HP Drain or Sweet Streak if you have that.
yes,
So I think I would be willing to put it in B, but I think that it is better. I think it is below Zapkin.
below Zap Tap, above Power Plus P.
Yeah,
Okay.
just because while it does have specific situations where it is good, it's also very risky and you don't get to use it much.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let you take the lead. What do you think should be the next badge?
I mean, there's a few things we could talk about. We could talk about maybe HP plus P. We
Okay.
could talk about the Happies.
Okay.
There's HP Ring or the Binders, even Spike Shield.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
surprised we
not
haven't.
sure.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about Spike Shield yet.
We can talk about that, sure.
Because you saw I had it in A, but I agree that I probably put it too high. I think that Spike Shield is really amazing at what it's designed to do.
Spike Shield, the main reason why it's good is Dark Koopatrols. You can flip them over, you can lock down one Dark Koopatrol with Sleepy Stomp, you can continuously jump on them with jump and once split headbonk as well. And you can also use multi-bonk to flip over multiple at once. That is what it's good for. This is generally amazing because Dark Controls are one of the hardest enemies in the pit. But still, it does come at an opportunity cost because, yeah, it's good at Dark Controls, but you do have other options like fire driving them. And it is a better option, but still, if you didn't have that, how big of a deal is that? I think that has to be factored in. And also, if you're spending time like using Spike Shield jumping on enemies, that means that you aren't attacking other enemies. Like, what if you want to fire drive a wizard? You're taking time not doing that. So I think it is good still, but that has to be considered. Spike Shield also helps against Spike Parabuzzies, knocks them down to the ground. So I personally don't think Spike Parabuzzies are that huge of a deal, especially if you use, say, Zap Tap.
Yeah, in the context of this tier list, Spike Shield is only attainable in pre-Hooktail.
Yes, it is theoretically attainable in pre-SP, but the issue is the final section with the chest. In the area where the chest is, touching the ground sets your respawn position, and the only way out of that area is to hit the spikes to respawn at the entrance. If you have paper mode, then you can stand on top of the chest and then do a frame perfect jump and open the chest. And then when you land on the chest, and on the chest doesn't update your respawn position, so then you can jump into the spikes.
And
But if you don't have paper mode, which is the case in a prologue run, then you don't have this option. Instead, you have to do some very awkward frame perfect jumps to with like a specific angle to like jump onto the chest while opening it. And because of the difficulty, it hasn't yet been done RTA.
no, and I think Dark Koopatrol omitted to talk about just getting there in the first place is for me the biggest barrier. It's a nightmare to do the seam walking to even enter the Spike Shield room.
Yeah, because the entrance to Spike Shield is blocked behind paper mode, but if you can get out of bounds, you can walk along the seam of the room to get there. I think probably that part is doable, but doing that part doing and then sorry and then doing the chest at the end, I think that might be a bit too much, at least at the moment.
Yeah, but I want to say that those who are thinking about maybe getting Spike Shield in pre-Hooktail, it's definitely doable. I have a video where I've done it, and I did it more than once. It's you just gotta understand like the setup at the end where you press R and fall and then jump, hold up, and then jump a second time. But you can practice this easily on any chess. I would practice on the flower, like the FP plus chest that you find in the sewers. That's how I practiced.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest one.
And all that being said, yes, you talked about how it's like it renders the probably the hardest enemy in the pit for many challenges completely like like a joke. Um, it also helps with spiky parabases, which can be kind of an issue if you only have 10 HP, and maybe you're doing like you have double pain on. You don't want to spend too much time with these guys. Um, and it also helps with the dark bristles. Um, if you want to hit them, even without the Ultra Hammer. If you have both Power Pluses and Hammerman, you're dealing 5 and they have 4 defense. So you can still hit them if you're not using the Ultra Hammer. But that's pretty much the gist of it. We did use Spike Shield a lot in our even turn pre-hooktail runs because a lot of enemies that are spiky happen to be very susceptible to sleep, like the Dark Craws and the Piranha Plants, all the Piranha Plants family.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
all the power plants are actually 100% free, which is insane.
Yes.
And I suppose I should also mention, obviously there's Dark Galactus, but the Sky Blue Spinies are actually flippable by jumping on them.
Yes. So it has a couple more uses there. But really, for me, when I'm thinking about bringing Spike Shield to the pit, it's for the Dark Koopatrols.
What do you think about right above Saturn?
Um, yeah. I mean, I'm wondering if it should even be higher because it's like if you have access to Spike Shield, you're gonna use it, right? And you're gonna be thankful you have it.
Yeah, like initially I was thinking maybe below Zaptap, but after talking about it, I'm thinking maybe right above it.
I'll put it there for now, for sure. Okay.
I think maybe we should talk about Power Smash.
Power Smash. I love that patch.
Yeah, do you want to or to die?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right, so this is something that we've talked about before, but most people think that Power Jump is better than Power Smash. But both of us are actually of the opinion that it is the other way around, and that Power Smash is the superior badge. My reasoning for this goes as follows. Power Jump, only it's a jump move, and against enemies that can jump on, Sleep Stomp is usually better, because the enemies that you want to jump on, they're the ones with low defense, they're the ones who are aerial, they are usually somewhat susceptible to sleep, and simply taking that chance is better than the extra damage that Power Jump provides. And then Power Jump isn't even really better if you're using like Power Plus, because you have 2 hits of Sleepy Stomp and only 1 hit of Power Jump. Uh, so Power Jump, it's outclassed by Sleepy Stomp, but then Power Smash, uh, there are a bunch of enemies that you need to hammer. Either they have high defense, or you can't jump on them because they're spiked or something. And one of the most threatening enemies in the pit, in my opinion, they're the enemy with the hardest super guard. It's Phantom Embers. And you don't have anything except Power Smash for Phantom Embers. You have to hammer them. You cannot use Fire Drive. And they are an absolute nightmare to deal with. You can encounter up to 5 at once, and if you don't have any Power Pluses or Hammerman, or Ultra Hammer, then your damage output is like literally doubled.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Dark Match is not honestly that good outside of Phantom Embers, but Phantom Embers are just so deadly that I think that that alone makes Power Smash better.
I mean, yeah, Phantom Members are a run killer for many challenges. And I think that people didn't really consider this because they're thinking, well, you have Koops, right, that can hit the Phantom Members. But we're talking about maybe challenges where you don't have Koops, right? And Mario, he's the only one who can hit them. Then you're really happy to have Power Smash, and there's no other badge you'd rather have at that time.
Yeah, and admittedly, Ultra Hammer also makes them easier, but still, you would like to have. And then for no Ultra Hammer runs, Power Smash makes a world of difference. Because let me tell you, no Ultra Hammer, no Power Smash, no Koops, Phantom Numbers, it's one of the worst loadouts in the game.
Yeah, you can get 5 of them. And you don't want it to last
Yeah,
twice as long.
they have 10 HP and their hammer deals 2 damage. Do the math.
Yeah, yeah. And so,
And I suppose on the Power Jump comparison, the only real thing that Power Jump does is they're able to Power Jump a charged Poison Puck or kill like a low HP sleeping enemy. Those are 2 things it can do, but killing Phantom Members way more important.
yes. So it's one optimal use that we can think of is against the poison buffs, where, I mean, you're still taking damage, right? And it's only useful if they're aerial and poison, right? If they're on the ground, you're going to use Fire Drive or any other fire move or hammer move. And the optimal use for Power Smash is against the Phantom Members, where it's like you're gonna encounter them. Of course, Power Jump does have some convenience use, but it also has more competition than Power Smash does. Power Smash, Power Smash and Piercing Blow, they accomplish different roles, and Fire Drive also, like you when you're using Power Smash, it's because you could, like, Piercing Blow and Fire Drive would not have been a better choice, right? Like, it's best at what it does. That's what I'm trying to get to. While when you're using Power Jump, often you could just use Power Bounce, right, for the same effect, or deal even more damage with Power Bounce. Or as you talked about, Sleepy Stomp is just like it's just as good, and it scales well with the attack increases.
Yeah, I talked about Sleepy Stomp because I'm more focused on prologue runs,
Mm-hmm.
but Power Bounce absolutely that's better than Power Jump. It costs more BP, it costs more FP, but you're dealing a lot more damage. And pretty much every enemy that is a good target for jumps has 0 defense.
Mm-hmm.
The only real exception are enemies that you can flip.
Yeah. Yeah, like defense is not that prevalent in the pit. So where do you think we should put these? I think we should rank both of them. I was thinking maybe Power Smash in C.
Yeah, and then honestly, Power Jump can go in D.
Yes, that's where I had it as well. I had it. I have it here though, but I could put it lower.
Honestly, I think it could even go lower.
Yeah, I here.
I think it is better than Dale Dodge, at least, yes.
Okay, we'll stick it there for now.
Because I've done a lot of fit runs, and even though it's always, yeah, I theoretically could use Power Jump, they just almost never do. Just because Sleepy Stomp is just that good, in my opinion.
And you get it right away, right? On floor 10, you already have Sleepy Stomp.
Yeah. Also, even if Sleepy Stomp fails, Power Jump, the damage increase from Power Jump only matches when you can kill an enemy. And
Mm-hmm.
putting an enemy to sleep is basically temporarily killing an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it takes you more than one attempt to put an enemy to sleep, that's probably still faster than killing it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And assuming you have both power pluses on, Sleepy Stomp is dealing the same damage as Power Jump. And the moment you put Jumpman on top of it, you're dealing more damage with Sleepy Stomp than Power Jump.
Yeah, but even if you have only one power plus, you're still barely even dealing more damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then with none, it is a bit more significant, yes, but it's still not worth it.
And like any challenge that you would do after pre-hooktail, like you already have spin jump in your arsenal that completely invalidates power jump, you know? While power smash, it's not the case. Like if you want to deal 2 extra damage on your hammer, then that's all you get. Right?
Yeah,
Okay. So I'm glad that we're on the same page for this. I'm looking at the remaining badges. Um, are there any
power
ones?
bounce.
Power bounce? Yeah, I think power bounce could be rated, and I know a lot of people have power bounce in high esteem. If you look at the badge tier list, I think it's an S for challenge runs. But for
However,
yeah,
the reason why power bounce is ranked so highly is because of the fact that multi-hit attacks heal well with attack bonuses.
mm-hmm,
But then early on, you don't actually get many attack bonuses. So the extra damage you get is simply from doing that one damage hit again and again and again.
mm-hmm. And I mean, you also have Gumbella, right? Who has that in her kit. Um, if you really want to use a power bounce at some point, so you could have like Gumbella doing the power bouncing and Mario doing the fire driving, for example.
Yeah, and you always have access to Gumbella. So because of that, uh, Power Bounce is less useful simply because you already have Power Bounce. Do you really need a second Power Bounce?
Because 3 BP is
Uh,
also it's kind of steep for a move patch.
yeah. That being said, Power Bounce is by no means bad.
No.
It does compete with Sleepy Stomp to some degree, but killing an enemy is better than putting it to sleep. So it does depend.
Mm-hmm.
They do compete with each other somewhat, but they don't outclass each other. They both have their own use cases.
Yeah. And Sleepy Stomp is so high because, sometimes you don't have power bounce, and Sleepy Stomp is just your go-to in that case.
Yeah, especially because in free hooktail runs, you have more options other than just the extra power bounce. There are other resources that you only get access to in free hooktail as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Sleepy Stomp, you get access to it in prologue pit runs, and it's a staple there.
And power bounce is often rated high because it's used on bosses, right? It's just that the only boss you see in the pit, Bonetail, like you're probably not dealing damage with your power bounce unless like you get a lot of power increases. And Bonetail also has like the lowest cap possible on power bounces. So is it really worth using on him? Probably not.
I do think that it is better than Power Smash. I do think it is probably B, but I'm not sure where in B it is.
I had it in B, but I also had it. I had it near the end of B. That's where I had it. I could see it.
I think above Power plus P. Uh, as for the other badges above it, I'm not sure.
Hmm. It
I
is
think I'm fine with above Mega Rush, but I'm not quite sure about Zap.
okay. Okay, I think it's fair.
Because, yeah, because with Zap Tap, there are enemies that it just completely invalidates. Basically, Power Bounce doesn't do anything like that. And then even if you can't use it, you still have Multi-Bonk, you still have Sleepy Stomp. You're probably fine, even if you're worse off.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm looking at these badges, and maybe for the remainder of the video, we can just go in order. I think that'd be
I'm
easier.
fine with that.
So, what do you think about multi bounce? Multi bounce in my list was the top of D.
I'm fine with that. Multi-balance, you're not using it for the damage. You're
No.
using it to flip over multiple enemies at once.
Yeah.
That could be Dark Koopas. That can be Spiky Koopas if you have Spike Shield. That can be used. That can be Dark Koopatrols if you have Spike Shield. And that's about it.
Multi bounce without spike shield is actually probably even lower than this. Like maybe even an F badge. Like I can't really justify using it. But since it's in pre-hooktail pit, you get it, and you also get spike shield. It definitely complements spike shield against the Dark Koopatrols. Although you can also just use Sleepy Stomp with the spike shield, and it's arguably even better against the Dark Koopatrols FP wise.
I mean, it depends. Ideally, you would be using both. Uh, I think probably Sleep Stomp would be better because if you're fighting three, I mean, it depends, right? I think multi bounce is not good because it's better for FP. I think it's better because you can just avoid attacks from turn one.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have its place, even if it is a lot worse.
Yeah. And other than those enemies where you need spike shield, like it would also be good against the spiky parabuzzies, right? um
Yeah. Though
other
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think multi bounce is even that good against Spiky Parabuzzies because I think the back Spiky Parabuzzies are kind of easy to disregard. So it's only really the front ones that you care about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you first try the first Spiky Parabuzzy, you jump on the second, you really need multi bounce at that point.
I mean, you raise a good point. It's true that the back ones are much easier to deal with than the front ones, and you can get them through the first strike and your first move. So even then, I mean, should we rate it even lower?
No, I still think it is good. I'm fine with this. It is, you're only using it specifically with Sponge Shield, I think, but its use case against Dark Trolls is legitimately decent. The fact that it's only very specific and you do have other options, that's why it's at OSD, but it is still a good use case and it is fully consistent. So I think I'm happy putting it above the others.
Yeah. Okay, so you're happy me putting it at the top of D for now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to Soft Stomp, which this badge is completely dependent on what challenge you're doing. You're probably in most challenges you're not going to use it at all. You could even probably sell it for money if you want to save time in your prep. How
Uh, you could use it. I know that War Viking used it in Jumpman Prologue Pit
exactly?
for wizards because it allows Goombella to damage them. But in one where you have Fire Drive, yeah, just use that.
Any challenge where you have Jumpman, where you're like a Jumpman challenge and you don't have access to your hammer, this will be used.
Yeah. The second use case is against Bob
Yes.
and I'm not entirely. I can't think of a specific challenge where I'd use it, but theoretically you could use it. I know that in level 1 Frolic Pit, Soft Stomp was not useful against Bobbles, but Mr. Softener was. The only reason I wouldn't use Soft Stomp was just because I didn't have the BP for it, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe it was the FP because I also needed to use Power Jump. But
Mm-hmm.
either way, the concept is you use Soft Stomp to kill the front guy in the time for loadout, and then blow up the others.
Mm-hmm. A thing to note is people are not really familiar with the soft status. So it's -3 defense. It's not -2. It's -3. and it's most enemies, like in the pit, every enemy is at least 80% weak to soft. Like it's actually probably one of the most reliable statuses that you could inflict, other than burn, right, which is always guaranteed or not. Um, so
Yeah,
any
the exceptions are Amazing Daisy, which is 10%, and then Bone Kill, which is immune.
Yes, you're right. But like elite wizards, they're 80. Chain chomps, they're 95%. I think. Like it's crazy. Um, and yes, you're right about those use cases. But also, if you're doing a Jumpman challenge, like why not use it against the chain chomps? Why not use it against any enemy that has two or more defense, just so Goombella can join in, right?
Yeah,
Like there's the dry bones, I could see you using it on them as well. So it is very niche though. In most challenges, it would be F, right? You're not going to use it in most challenges, but in some challenges, it's actually a decent option. So I think it has its place in the D tier. It's just a matter of where in D.
I'm thinking right above Power Jump.
And you know what? I would agree because when it is useful, it's actually really nice to have. And power jump, I feel like you could yes, you can jump on those poison puffs, but you can also like just tank a hit or super guard and then attack them next turn. While like your elite wizards, you're never killing them unless you have this badge on to make it possible to jump on them, right?
Also, here's the really fun thing about Power Jump's niche use case. You could also use Sleepy Stomp.
Yeah, you're right. But then they
And of course, that's only material if it's grounded, you just Power Smash or Fire Drive.
yeah,
Uh, I'm sorry, Power Jumps. I'm sorry.
man, it really fell from grace. The next badge we have here is Piercing Blow, which when I rated it, I had it right next to Power Smash. But maybe it should be lower. I don't know. What do you think?
I think maybe it could go lower, but I think that it is a C tier badge. Piercing Blow, realistically, you're using it against like Chomps, Moonclefts.
Bone Tail, sometimes.
Yeah, but like really, you're using it against the high defense, Fire Drive Moon enemies that are not named Dark Bristle, which is actually just those two. I guess Red Chomp as well.
Yeah.
So Red Chomp, Chain Chomp, Mooncleft.
I feel like
Uh,
all these enemies you're mentioning where Piercing Blow is good are also enemies you could probably just super guard to death as well. It just makes the process much quicker using Piercing Blow.
yes, that's the issue. Piercing Blow, it is nice to have, especially Chain Chomps, I think. Chain Chomps, I think I can be a little inconsistent at, even if they're not the worst overall. I I do think that it is decent, and it does speed them up. And also, if there's an enemy behind the Chain Chomp, then that can also be a bigger deal.
And Piercing Blow,
But overall, I think that ultimately Piercing Blow is entirely replaceable.
it's really a nice to have badge. It's not really essential to any pit run. Um, but like multi bounce is kind of the same idea, but Piercing Blow, I'd use it more than I would use multi bounce.
Yeah,
Do you think that Piercing Blow is better when you have Ultra Hammer or when you don't have Ultra Hammer?
probably when you do, because uh, at the very least, that I mean, it competes with Power Smash at that point, but Piercing Blow is usually better against like two defense enemies, just because stage hazards are usually something you want to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Let Easy example: you're fighting Bone Tail, you're using Piercing Blow.
Yes. Yes. There's that one exception in even turn when you have the fog jets, then you'll want to use you want the fog jets to occur, right? So you're going to use this one. But if not, I completely agree that piercing blow is the better choice compared to power smash.
Yeah. Also, quick note about piercing blow. This isn't the biggest deal, but just quick note: if you want to get a stage hazard to manipulate your HP, usually you'll want to use the background for that, and actually, piercing blow is better than power smash. The reason being is power smash is more likely to cause a stage hazard. However, both piercing blow and power smash have the same weight for having the background fall, and because piercing blow has a lower total weight, that means that overall piercing blow has a higher chance of making the background fall.
I didn't even know that. That's a very good thing to note.
Usually this doesn't matter, but I have seen this used in level 1 Fall Pit specifically. That's actually why I know this knowledge, because I looked into it for that. Because we want to be at 9 HP for bubbles.
Yep. Finally, here we have.
Um,
Sorry, do you want? Do you
I was
want?
going to say, actually, maybe we go a little out of order here to talk about the happies.
Sure, sure. We can talk about the three happies. To note, as of now, you can get Happy Heart as early as the prologue, I believe. You can get Happy Flower as early as the prologue in the shop. You get Happy Heart in pre-Hooktail, and you don't get a free Happy Heart P. But all three of them are available as well in Dazzle's shop.
In all of them are Dazzle. Happy Flower is Fat Shop. Happy Heart is in Petal Meadows. And then Happy Heart P, it is in Brookport Sewers, in the area where you get play mode. But currently, there's not yet a way to get it even pre-Hooktail.
Yes, Dark Koopatrol and I
We
have
are
been.
looking into it, but we don't yet have a way without zero hitbox.
Yeah, yeah. It's something Dark Koopatrol and I have been really looking into, and hopefully one day we'll find a way to get that Happy
Yeah,
Heart P.
we're actually somewhat close because if you're able to talk to Kupuk and you're able to get his request by talking to him under the map, which is theoretically possible, we just need to find a way to do it without zero hitbox to clip out of bounds. But if you manage to do that, then you can actually use his trouble to get an email, which you can then use to super jump to Happy Heart P.
Yes, which would be
But again,
available in pre-Hooktail in that case.
yeah, but that's not yet possible.
Not yet.
As for the Happy themselves, usually people don't think super highly of them. Each of them is 1 in 3 chance of healing one stat at the end of each turn.
Yes, and it doesn't start until like you've used up your first turn. It won't happen on a first strike.
Yeah, it does not apply to turn 0.
But I think that you have a lot to say about them because you've used them more than most people, actually.
Yeah. So usually the opinion of them is pretty low. They're not really reliable, and then they can kill you out of last stand or mega rush range. But I do think that they are underrated because in challenges where you have restricted healing, this is mainly 3XP runs, as well as potentially some other niche challenges such as even turn free uphill hit. The happy hearts are actually pretty good. They give actually not bad healing. 1 HP every 3 turns is actually a lot better than it sounds, especially if you're in a battle that takes a while. For example, there was like I don't remember which fight this was, but one of the I think it was Group's only projectile pit. where you're doing 7 damage each turn, and then the fight would be like 40 turns long, or maybe it was something else, but one of them was like around 40 if it's under, I think like 30 each turns. And then Happy Heart is healing like that's 2 BP, and then it's healing like 13 HP across the entire fight.
I mean, I remember watching you fight that loadout with 1 dry bone and 1 dark claw, and you had to always keep the dry bone like on you had to always hit him so he wouldn't rise back up, and you could only deal damage to the dark claw by super guarding. And I remember Happy Heart, they're just going wild. Happy Heart P.
Yeah, Happy Heart P is actually not bad. Usually it's seen as bad because fuckers have a lot of HP, thus making healing them less important. But that isn't quite the case in early pit runs, especially because in a lot of challenges, you want to be upgrading Mario's HP. So in that case, Mario's actually the one with more HP.
I think that, I was going to say, Dark Koopatrol, do you agree with me that in runs where you can use Sweet Treat, these are probably not worth bringing?
Yes.
Or, I mean,
However,
they're
I
not worth
think
buying from Dazzle, at least.
yes. However, if you have restricted healing, that meaning no street treat basically, or you have more issues with these games such as even from pre-exile tent, then I do think they are actually absolutely worth bringing. In a recent challenge run, I brought Happy Heart P instead of Item Hog, and it actually completely paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're getting so much value out of it, consider this. For normal Happy Heart, uh, Happy Heart becomes equivalent to HP plus as soon as 15 turns pass. And that's not actually all that unreasonable to get within the span of one level up. And bear in mind, Happy Heart is less VP than HP plus.
Yes, true.
Uh, so in that sense, it's kind of like the opposite of Flower Saver.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the partner version, you don't actually have that many ways to increase your partner's HP. You start at the base 20 HP for Goombella, 15 for Koops. Then you get to use HP plus P to increase that by 5 each. Then you have Happy Heart P, which is what we're discussing. And then you don't have too much else. You have like Heart Finder, Defend plus P. But really, if you want to increase your survivability, this is one of the very few options that you do have.
Mm-hmm.
And as for Happy Heart, you can get 2 Happy Hearts in Critical Pit, and Happy Heart actually stacks better than any other badge in the game. The way that Happy Heart stacks is you just get an additional activation of it. Instead of getting a 30% chance to heal 1 HP, you have 2 separate 30% chances to heal 1 HP, that then if both activate, then you heal 2 HP.
You're right. That is nice because they could have just made it so you just get more and more chance to get that 1 heart, but no, you can get multiple hearts.
Yeah, and that difference is why it's better than evasion stacking.
Mm-hmm.
At least in efficiency of stacking.
I'm gonna let you rank these because I think you have a much more in-depth opinion than me on these 3 badges, and I wouldn't even know actually which one goes above which.
So I think that Happy Heart is probably the best, if only because you get 2 copies.
Yes, okay.
Then I would put Happy Heart P above Happy Flower, and I don't think that Happy Flower is actually all that important, just because you can absolutely get away with having low FP. But if you run out of HP, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, where would you put them? C, D?
I think probably I would put them both between Power Smash and Piercing Blow.
Like this? and Happy Flower
Yeah.
below, other tier.
I don't really have any strong opinion on Happy Flower, but I think that it is at least C tier. I am fine with below Piercing Blow. I could also see above it. I think this is fine.
Okay.
I mean, Happy Flower is more generally usable, but it is still uh, not that good. The Happy Hearts, they are better, but they're even more niche. But the niche they do have, I think is actually pretty good, which I think if we balance that out, I think this placement is fair.
I'm I'm just considering that in pre-SP runs, the only stat you can reliably heal up at the end of every battle is Mario's health. Like these two would be more helpful maybe in that sense.
That's fair. Uh, in a lot of pick runs, you can, sorry, in a lot of PSP runs, you can let Lubella die, but also there are a good few where you want to bring life runs. So actually, yeah, you know what? I mentioned that one of the good things about Happy Heart P is that it's one of the very few ways to increase your partner's survivability. Let's
Yes.
put it above normal Happy Heart.
And I wanted to mention, remember when we were talking about dealing with the 4 bulky bob-ombs in level 1? Like, yes,
Yes,
all you
yes.
needed was this, but you also needed to have your 5 FP, which you could easily farm since they don't attack for 4 turns.
Yeah. If if you ever encounter baubles, then the happies are a great way to just heal up for free, basically.
Yes.
Might take a little bit, but you shouldn't be in danger of taking any damage. And even if you're fighting, like, say, a lone elite wizard, it can still be, like, worth it. Like, two bubbles from elite wizard, you could go for it.
Mm-hmm. If you're confident, yeah. Or listen, if you become a pro at spotting which wizard is the true one, you could infinitely recover with these guys.
Theoretically. Uh, I don't think Happy Flower is ever bad, but it's never as necessary.
So I mean, I think it. I could see it in the same tier as the Happy Hearts because I was first thinking maybe it's a tier below, but maybe not. Okay,
Alright, moving on.
I guess we'll continue with the double dips.
Double dips are kind of weird to rank.
Yes,
You
I
use
agree.
the double dips if you want to kill an enemy, or I guess an entire loadout turn one. That's about it.
Yes, and once again, this was another badge that was highly rated in the challenges, but I think it's because of using like double dip for boss manipulation or for like HP manipulation or FP manipulation, and then use like swap your FP to HP. Like you're not doing this in the pit.
Yeah, it's usually against bosses. It's just these multiple items. Items are quite strong, and against bosses, you don't really have to worry about your inventory size. And you are correct that one of its best applications was 5 FP, double dip, point swap, right? You go straight into Terra.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the pit, that's not the case, and we're only really able to kill enemy loadouts turn one. And for that reason, I think I can only justify bottom of C with the P version being slightly better because you can fire right with Mario.
So that's where I had it in the bottom of C, and pretty much for the same reasons you gave. I wanted to mention that we are assuming that you get like 2 free double dips in your prep, and you get
I
another
mean, I am
copy.
assuming that, but honestly, I think it really does not matter at all.
Yeah, I wanted to say that triple dip, I don't, I don't see it much. I would see triple dip used before triple dip P though.
Maybe.
Like in scenarios
But
where only Mario's alive, or you're doing like a pre-crump run, um, I could
I
get.
guess, and also I guess if you didn't get the free double dips, then maybe you would rank Mario's version slightly higher just because you get it on floor 60.
Yeah,
But I think realistically, they're about the same with the P version being slightly better.
like I had them ranked right next to each other, but I did have Mario's higher because of any run you do where Mario's disabled. Like this is probably one of the main things you can do that's useful.
I guess that is true. Um, and there is the aforementioned situation that I talked about.
And I feel like
That
when
being said, I just think that in most challenges, the way that you get rid of like 5 elite wizards is pretty universal. Double dip, Thunder Rage, Fire Drive. So
yeah,
I feel like it's only fair to put the partner version above it.
okay. I mean, sure, I don't mind. We'll put them in C for now.
Especially because in such a situation, if you used Mario's double dip instead, you might just straight up have to use an extra item.
Yeah, I guess I also thought that in scenarios where Mario can use any move, um, I feel like double dip P, I guess, was not that useful. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not that useful because you might as well just use an item, just a regular item. You don't need double dip P. You'll just use one item with your partner and then Mario Fire drives. And depending on the attack bonuses you have, and if you're using like a Zest Dynamite, you don't even need double dip P. I don't know.
Yeah, although uh, like attack restricted Mario challenges exist, usually Mario's turn is more valuable than the partner's turn.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm okay with having, like, for me they should be next to each other. I really don't see any badge coming
Absolutely,
between the two.
they do basically the same thing.
Yeah. Kind of just depends on, well, who's in a position to use items, right?
Yeah,
So the next badge here would be HP plus, which I'm looking at my ranking. I had it in the C tier, but maybe I was too generous. Once again, maybe it could be a D tier. I don't know. The
the issue with so I think HP plus P is good, but HP plus and FP plus you can just upgrade the stat anyway. So the only real bonus that they have is you get to unequip them for BP if you ever feel like you need more BP. But I don't feel like that's often the case. But it does happen more often in PSP rounds.
I often feel like I need a certain amount of BP up all the way to floor 99. But once I fight Bonetail, well, I have to unequip Zap Tap. I have to unequip like Item Hog, and so this gives me BP that's easy to put on like FP plus or HP plus for Bonetail.
Okay, let's start with FP plus. I do think that FP plus is better.
Yes, I agree. I had it actually really high in my ranking, maybe too high. I could see it somewhere in B.
I think it's C.
Just looking. I mean, I put it maybe here.
I think the highest I could put it is right below Piercing Blow.
Sorry, where would you put it?
I think the highest is right below Piercing Blow.
The highest would be right below Piercing Blow. Okay, okay.
I mean, maybe it's just because, like, for most of the runners, just keeping it equipped the entire time, you get, like, a little bit of extra BP at the end, but honestly, the impact of that is not that high. So again, it is Piercing Blow. Maybe if you really think you really like that extra BP, maybe it could be right above piercing flow, but not higher than that.
It's also kind of nice the fact that you can unequip it the moment you've already used 5B, like 5 FP, in any like pre-SP context. Okay, I used 5
Yeah,
FP. Okay,
that
I can remove it and put something else. So I can put Flower Finder now, you know?
that is true. And I guess that does mean like in a pre-SP context, maybe I am underrating it a little. That being said, FP Plus doesn't really let you do anything that you couldn't already. It just gives you a bit more flexibility with your BP and gives you allows you to like equip a little more. But stuff like, for example, like even looking at the happy hearts, which are good in pre-SP, the happy hearts just give you like a bunch of extra throws that the others won't be able to have. It increases your survivability. FP Plus just gives you like a little more BP to play with in some situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right above Piercing Blow is fair.
Okay, I think I'll do that. Now for HP plus, I think it's well below FP plus for sure. Like it could be a whole tier below. That's I had yeah, that's what I pretty much had in my ranking. I had it 2 tiers below, but I also had
Especially
FP plus
because
higher.
you have HP during in pre-SP.
Yeah.
I think at the very least, I would put the double dips above HP plus. I think just because even though the double dips, you're not often using them. If an enemy is ever holding a stopwatch, this is your one out.
Yep. Yep. I could see that. I could see it in D, the HP plus.
Maybe, but at the end of the day, it does still give you like a little extra flexibility, and like there's no real downside to equipping it because you're probably like always going to be upgrading HP, and HP plus is at worst slightly better than an HP level.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's also I was thinking of you often have less FP than you have HP, so FP plus makes a bigger difference than HP plus.
Yeah, because like FP you can get away with not having it, like not having much of it, and like sometimes you're like, well, 15 FP, do I really need 15 FP? Maybe I can just have 10 instead and
Mm-hmm.
put that BP on something else instead.
Mm-hmm.
But HP, you never really can have too much HP. At a certain point, it becomes less necessary, but you always want more HP.
Okay. So I'll put it below the dips.
But I feel like C is probably justified.
Yeah, I would like low C. Um, Next we have HP plus P, which you and I both agree is better than these other two, even though it costs double the amount for the same like 5 HP bonus. It's because it's on a partner that it really makes a difference.
HP plus is just an HP level in bad form. FP plus is just an FP level in bad form. HP plus P does something that you cannot replicate with leveling up.
Yeah, completely
You
agree.
can't just get upgrade the partner's HP when you get a level up. You have to actually level them up via Merlin, which you can only do once. And if you want to upgrade it further, this is how you do it.
It is expensive though. 6 BP is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, Orpter, and sometimes, like, Google does already have 20 HP, can be decent, so it does depend. But I don't think that HP plus P is ever really bad. I will say it's not always amazing. I would say in a lot of challenges, I would say HP plus P is never one of your best options, but I think it's always something to consider.
Another thing that happens is that let's say you have 6 BP to spare and you want to increase your partner's survivability. You have to pick between HP plus P or Defend plus P. Like it's got competition.
A little bit. I do think that HP plus P is better, but Defend plus P has the advantage of being more useful to swap in on the spot.
Yeah, I think Defend plus P is definitely better in the 80s. Um, but HP plus P is what I would put for Bone Tail, you know?
Yeah, especially because HP plus P always lets your partner live an extra hit.
Yes. That's huge, actually. And if ever you're bringing Zest Dynamites and you want to give them to your partner, like, you're making more use out of Zest Dynamites with HP plus P than when Goombella is at 20 HP max, and you're going to be wasting some of the healing potential.
So I'm thinking maybe we put it in C tier.
Still in C though?
Maybe B. I was thinking like maybe above Power Smash.
Okay.
Either that or the bottom of B.
Um. Hmm. Honestly, I think I put it at the bottom of B.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I had it even
And
higher in
such
my tier list, so I think this is a decent spot.
and we may as well just bring Defense plus B because we're just talking about it.
Yes.
It's slightly cheaper at 5 VP, and it gives 1 point of defense instead of 5 extra HP. There are enemies that pierce defense, but against certain enemies like Tarantulas that hit multiple times, getting that extra defense can be a pretty big deal.
And it also pairs really well with the two Last Stand Ps. Like you have the Dark Koopatrol that charges up, that's gonna deal 10 damage, but hey, if you have Defend plus B, it's 9, and then divide by 3, you're just taking 3 damage on Goombella, you know, it's kind of crazy. And even when they're not charged, if you have Koops out, like you're only taking 1 damage from the regular attack if you have both Last Stand Ps and Defend plus P.
I think that Defense plus P is near HP plus P, below it, but I'm not sure if it's right next to it. I think I might put it below Power Smash.
I had it right below, but after thinking about it, I think yeah, because it is also an expensive badge, and
And bear in mind, as an example, if you're fighting Elite Wizards, might not matter. If you're fighting Bone Tail, I don't think Defense plus P like always matters either.
mm-hmm,
Like there's a lot more situations where Defense plus P just doesn't really matter.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's actually a big waste in that case, you know. While HP plus
I
P,
think
it's always working. You always have your extra 5 HP on your partner.
I think at the very least it is better than Puritan Blow, but do we think that it's better than the Happy Hearts?
I would say that, you get it for free though. I
Yeah,
think
and
so.
then like the Happy Hearts are nice, but we could also like get like Item Pod, Pretty Lucky, Heart Finder. I think right below Power Smash is fair given that.
Yeah. Okay, next to rank is gonna be Jumpman, which is gonna be controversial because in my mind it's not as useful as Hammerman, which is probably the only tier list you'll ever see this.
Yeah, here's the thing. The hit specifically, early hit, is actually kind of hammer focused,
Mm-hmm.
simply because you get Fire Drive. Fire Drive is by far your best move, and then in some challenges you also get access to the Ultra Hammer, and then yeah, your hammer is just better than your jump.
Mm-hmm. And there's a
Also, even in challenges where Mario is attack restricted. Let's say that it's no jump, no hammer. You can still first strike.
Yes. And I want to say that in challenges where you don't have Koops, right? At least you're always guaranteed to have Goombella, and Goombella is your jump, so Mario can focus on the hammering, right? And if you're both doing jumps, then you can be exposed to like some really hard enemies to deal with.
The Jumpman is mainly equipped against solely aerial enemies. Also, stuff like Dark Koopatrol if like you plan on flipping those over. Uh, Even Piranha Plants in some situations, though I think probably you aren't going to be doing that.
But like Dark Koopa Patrol, let's say, I have a power block and I'm facing three Dark Koopa Patrols. I use the power block to flip them over, but I don't know if fog is going to occur, right? And then I wish I didn't have Jumpman on anymore because, right, it's not, they're going to come back up and I'll be in a tough situation, just wasted a power block.
Also, Jumpman doesn't actually help you against three Dark Koopatrols. It lets you deal more damage, but all you need to do to win is flipping them over.
Yes.
If I recall correctly, I think that it was a bit better when paired with Mega Rush, because with Mega Rush you actually want to jump,
Yes.
even with Ultra Hammer.
It is better with Mega Rush, but I don't think that one extra damage from Jumpman really makes a difference when you're already getting +5 per jump with the Mega Rush. In a lot of
Yeah,
scenarios.
I think that like maybe Arantulas was one of the situations.
And I was thinking about the Arantulas, where, yes, if you don't have the Ultra Hammer, then yeah, like Jumpman is your best bet. But if you do have the Ultra Hammer, I'm not even sure you want to be able to jump on them. Like I feel like you could easily deal 8 damage with your hammer and just cycle through them and not have any turn that you wasted because they're all out of reach. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is specifically with Mega Rush. Otherwise it's just like Swampire and like other aerial only enemies. Dark, no, not even Dark Latitudes because they can spawn spinies.
So and you're not really using this against Bone Tail. Like Hammerman, much better.
Well, there are like some like 10 HP pre XP runs or whatever, or like maybe you actually want to use Mega Rush.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're using that, then Jumpman can be useful. Actually, for level 1 pre XP, no Ultra Hammer, that's exactly what I theorized, though this challenge run is not ready to be attempted.
Where would you
As
see
for
it?
its overall placement, I'm not sure. It is pretty niche, but it's always an option that you should consider. And I'm thinking maybe around Pearson Below, question mark.
That's exactly where I was looking. I was like somewhere in the middle of C would make sense to me. Probably above Piercing Blow.
That's where I was initially thinking too, right above Pearson Below, below FP plus.
Yeah. Okay. Double Pain, we are not going to rank it. There are a couple badges here that we're just not going to rank. Those being Double Pain, Peekaboo, Timing Tutor, and yeah, everything that comes afterwards here. So it's
I
good
guess
bump attack,
moving
yeah.
the badges to the bump to the top of unranked just to make things a little easier. We have
Yeah.
HP Drain, FP Drain, Heart Finder, Flower Finder, Super Appeal, Simple Fire, and Chill Out.
Yeah, these are the last ones to rank right here. So we'll start with HP Drain, which is your only reliable HP increasing, like, healing badge in pre SP and like pre-crump. Like also, if you have the ultra hammer and you add, let's say, a single attack increasing badge like Hammerman or the power pluses, then you can. There's no enemy that you just can't hammer and get back to full. Even if you only have 3 BP to work with, you can put HP drain, Hammerman, and you can heal off elite wizards.
Yeah, HP Drain is only good in PSP, but it's actually like really good in PSP,
Yes.
given that you don't feel your run.
Yes. And you were talking about even moments where it's good, where it's not used to just start a fight at full.
Yeah, here's an example. In PSP, you do not hit last stand. Let's say that you're doing 10 HP PSP hit with Ultra Hammer, I guess. You're fighting Dark Koopatrols, you take 5 points of damage, then you have HP Drain, you hammer, suddenly you're at 6 HP, you no longer die to their attacks.
Yes.
This isn't necessarily optimal. Maybe you want a little bit of extra damage from Fire Drive and Hammer, but sometimes not dying is all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, you can use Mega Rush when at 1 HP afterwards. And I mean,
And
yeah.
despite what you might think, HP Drain does actually pair well with Mega Rush, because after you use Mega Rush, and then you enter the next battle, you can heal up, so you don't have to be at 1 HP for the next battle.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right. It allows you to play it safe. And let me just check where I had it on my list. I had it at the top of C.
I think probably somewhere in B would be fair.
In D?
B.
B. Okay. Okay. I was like, in D, man. I don't know if I can agree with that. But yeah, in B, because it's actually really good in pre-SP, and this tier list takes into account all these really early challenges. So, I mean, is it above Mega Rush?
Maybe.
I'll put it here for now. We
Yeah,
can
I'm fine with
discuss
that.
after. FP Drain, though, this badge is unfortunate because the
Here,
moment you have FP Drain, you have Sweet Treat.
that news is locked behind the badge shop. So until we can figure out how to get badge shop badges pre-SP, which is currently not possible on US, it is trash.
If it were available for pre-SP, though, it would be right with HP Drain.
Yeah.
But we did use it a few times in runs where you can't run away, or running away is very penalizing, like the pre-Hooktail Pit even turn run, when we were just like 1 FP away.
Yeah. We also use it in Coop's only productive pit. And both of those challenges mentioned are kind of niche challenges, but those situations do exist.
Yeah, because if you look at all the top badges are badges, that increase power. So a badge that decreases power can't really can't be that high. I had it in D, and I could even see it being top of F, honestly.
I wouldn't go so far as to say F. I do think. Well, actually, we have FP Ring for the niche healing options with like running away. But what about Pity Flower?
Well, Pity Flower was because it was available in pre-SP, right?
Yeah, but like maybe like is it unfair to say that Pity Flower is better? And actually, I think at the very least, I think Damage Dodge is worse than Pity Flower.
So it would go like this, and this one would be either before or after damage dodge.
I think it's better than Damage Dodge.
Damn, you really really don't like damage dodge. When I was a kid, man, I had damage dodge on like the whole my whole playthrough.
Absolutely, this just has to do with context.
Yeah.
Damage Dodge can be a decent badge in the right context. It's just that pretty much every single early pick run is Super Guard heavy.
Yeah. I think another reason why I like damage dodge in pit runs is because I like to get all the tattles. And for example, especially against the Lucky Twos, with damage dodge, you can just have them throw their spinies on Mario and you just defend or you guard, sorry, and you're just, you know, you get the spiny to bounce back and then you can tattle him without taking damage, but I agree that it's not that useful. Okay, I think we can go on.
Also,
Yeah,
even in like the situations where like damage dodge using to like prevent taking damage, those are situations that happen early on in the pit. Like you're on against the pit where enemies deal damage, and Guardian becomes less and less attractive.
there's still that frost piranha loadout, like the four frost piranhas. I don't know, missing a super guard could end your run as well.
I guess. But I'm not really a big believer in guarding against frost piranhas, personally speaking. And even if I do accept that it is an option, I feel like, I mean, you don't necessarily need damage dodge for that.
But I think we can agree that just that one scenario keeps it out of F.
Yes.
So now we can look at these two finder badges, which I believe they're both below item hog.
Absolutely.
But I
I
still
think
think
that
they're good though.
I think that Shark Finder is probably B, Flower Finder is probably C.
So Heart Finder in B, Flower Finder in C. I will say that in pre-SP runs, you can use Item Hog, but I think Flower Finder is a good substitute also.
Maybe. There's a couple of things to consider. First, Artfinder has the specific utility of guaranteeing a heart drop, which you can use to revive your partner.
Yes.
Even outside of that, it is one of only a few options to increase the survivability of your partner. Also, it does heal Mario as well. You get an average of 2 extra HP per battle,
Mm-hmm.
and that HP healing is actually doubled because it affects both Mario and partner.
True.
Uh, Flower Finder heals your FP, but it's not quite as efficient as Heartfinder because it only heals 1 FP per flower, and we've already established that you can get away with lower FP amounts.
It's true. I
And
think I
and it
like.
does still have the issue that it doesn't really matter too much how much FP you get if it's not a multiple of 5,
Yeah,
or I guess above 5.
I guess I like Flower Finder because it really incentivizes me to use FB. If not, I feel like I just try to keep it and end up like wasting it because I didn't use it. I also feel like Heart Finder has direct competition from Item Hog, but Flower Finder doesn't. Because of like the reliable stream of dry shrooms you can get through Item Hog.
Maybe, but Heartfinder is still better than that. Sorry, Heartfinder. Heartfinder still lets you like revive more frequently, uh, and Hardfinder still has needs of just generally healing you up, and HP is more important than FP. And I do feel like the thing about, oh, I want to use like FP move, that's, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, but I feel like at the same time that is kind of a mental thing to some extent.
Mm-hmm. And I was
So
also telling you about that trick where you have FP plus and then you unequip it for Flower Finder once you've used up 5 FP.
that is true. That is true. But bear in mind that these are battle badges, so these are in direct competition with each other.
Yes, absolutely.
So starting with Heartfinder, uh, I think probably it's in B tier. Maybe
Somewhere here.
right above Power Belts, maybe? How did that feel?
That's like I'm looking at my tier list and that's pretty much where I had it. I just had Item Hog a tier higher. I'm thinking, is there a tier difference between the two? Maybe
Uh,
not. Maybe not.
I don't think so. Item Hog is definitely better. Usually it is, I think it has a better effect, even disregarding the star piece difference, but I don't think it's quite a tier difference.
Okay. Okay. And for Flower Finder, I had it pretty close to Heart Finder, but I think you view it less favorably. You'd even see it
Yeah,
in C, right?
I think maybe around FB plus a bit higher.
I do prefer it to FP plus.
Definitely.
Like if I have 3 BP, I'll probably put this on before. Well, I mean they're not used in the same scenario, but I'd be happier to have this. Is it
I
right
think it's
above
fair
FP
putting it
plus?
above the happies if you want, just because uh I don't know, but
No, no.
I'm fine with it.
I think the happies are, they still have that thing where like Happy Heart P can do something no other badge can really do.
Yeah, I feel good with this, especially because to some extent, Flower Fighter is not that much better than an FP level, especially later on where you're leveling up a bunch. Bear in
Mm-hmm.
mind that on average, you get 2 extra FP per battle, which means that in order to outdo an FP level,
You
you
need
need to
three.
finish 3
Yeah,
fights.
3 battles. Which means that Flower Finder is probably better at the beginning, but in later fights where you get a lot of XP, it falls off.
Yeah, and it's never that much better than an FP plus, I don't think, or rather an FP level.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you were level 99, though, you'd love this badge.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess next we have Super Appeal. And from what I remember, Super Appeal P is not available. I put it over, I left it in the unranked badges, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. Super PvP, you can get it in the battle shop at some sequence, I think, and you can also get it in Flurry's house.
Okay. But Super Appeal is the other badge that you can get unlimited copies of, although you're probably not getting more than 3 because the way appealing works is that you get a base 0.25 of your star gauge, and every additional Super Appeal grants a 0.25. So the moment you have 3, as long as you have one audience member, you're getting a full SP regen.
And it should be noted that on top of that, you also get extra SP equal to a quarter of your audience
Yes.
divided by 100. So if you have 100 audience, that's 25, which means that you get 0.25.
Yes.
Uh, So you don't necessarily always need all of the repeals to get a full unit. However, all 3 of them guarantees it.
Yes. And once again, audiences can be fickle. You can easily get below 100 in Bonetail if you don't get a bingo in a while. Um, and like in even turn, we just had horrible audiences. So the moment you have one audience member who's not asleep, you're good with three super appeals.
Okay, so I know that we've been doing this a lot, but I was going to say Red above Flower Finder. Maybe it could go lower, I'm not sure.
I also had it in C. Uh, I had it, yeah, I had it right above the double dips.
So somewhere around there.
Also, it's a cheap batch. It's only one BP. So once you get to
Yeah.
Bonetail, it's easy to remove like Zap Tap and put the three super appeals on.
Yeah, definitely if you can bring it to Bonetail, that's definitely you should do that.
And it grants you protection against the Dry Bones audience.
Yeah, and you're not always equipping it, but honestly looking at like the other C tier badges, it's like Piercing Blow, you're not always equipping that. Super
Mm-hmm.
Appeal, it's always at least an option. If you ever have spare BP. Same with like Happy Flower 2.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So in that case, I'd see it like over here.
I'm fine with that.
Also,
What you got
it's a
for
good badge.
Simplifier?
I was gonna say it's a good badge to use in any challenge where Mario is disabled.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the issue with Super Appeal is that appealing, it sure gives you star power, but appealing does worsen your action economy just because you're appealing instead of dealing damage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we are almost done. We have only two more badges to rank. First one being Simplifier, which, let me tell you, it's not in the same. It's not going to be F with Unsimplifier, that's for sure.
Yeah, so here's the thing. People usually don't think very highly of Simplifier, but the truth is Simplifier is not actually that bad because it helps you run away.
Yes. Helps you run away. It grants you that one extra frame um, decreasing, right, for power bounce. So you'll probably get one more jump that you would have without it.
Yeah, the breaker bit becomes the ninth bounce instead of the eighth bounce.
Yeah. Other than that, well, it makes Shell Shield easier.
I don't think that's too relevant, but yeah, it does.
I mean, I don't know if I'm just kind of telling on how bad I am with most of these moves. uh, a
I
re-
mean, Shellfield's not the easiest, but I also don't think it's too important to get a perfect Shellfield.
yeah, I wanted to say that.
But really, the main thing is like, remember when we were talking about HP credit and how you have to like continuously like first strike run away?
Yes.
That can be kind of hard to do. Uh, like, I mean, if you're not good at matching, definitely Simplifier helps with running away. But even if you're decent, then it still helps out. Like, unless you're mashing to full every single time you run away, Simplifier is helping you out, and that alone makes it worth equipping. And even if you are capable of doing that, Simplifier helps you not wear out your hands as much.
Yes, I wanted to say that something that's kind of unfortunate about Simplifier is that, well, you're not really using it with the HP drain strat because you can only really get Simplifier from the shop once you have SP at this point.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that is true.
but it is still useful if you want to heal to full with like running away and then getting SP and then using Sweet Treat and running away. This is definitely a strategy that you can use this for.
Yeah. I noticed that like on your personal tier list you have it right above Super Appeal. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Another unfortunate thing is that it does not help with the super guard timing. I wish it gave you one extra frame.
Yeah. Uh you get the second copy at like I want to say like Bad Shop
Really
Chapter
late.
5.
Yeah, at a point where you're probably familiar with the moves and you don't need it.
And more importantly, after early pit.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I had it.
Also, I do want to mention that even if you do just like have Simplifier equipped all the time in battles, uh, because as we mentioned, on Simplifier, there's only a small boost. Simplifier is only a small drop in your SP.
Yes.
And oftentimes, especially with like the danger and hero bonuses that you can get, it might not even end up mattering.
Yes. Totally agree with you. I do think though something to note is that it's probably a bad idea to have it against Bonetail because you will be capped at a wonderful. But that's for your power jumps. Sorry, power bounces.
Yeah, Botel has soft cap of 5, and really you should be able to get like, I think usually like around 8 consistently.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying you're going to be capped at 5 at a wonderful, and you're going to get less SP in that case.
Yeah,
So I
and
wouldn't equip it. I wouldn't equip it against Bonetail. That's it.
I'm not necessarily recommending that like you have Simplifier equipped at all times, but I am saying that if you do have it equipped for the duration of battle, let's say maybe you're doing that because you think maybe there's a chance that he might run later on, or maybe you just want better power bounces. That is a totally legitimate strategy.
Mm-hmm. And as for chill out, I think we'll keep it as unranked because it's not really a battle badge, and it's just something. If you have two extra BP, like two extra star piece, like might as well take it. Um,
Yeah, theoretically it does have an impact. If you are like first strike farming against an enemy that can first strike you, you can use it. But honestly, if you're just being careful, it's not even necessary.
no,
So because of that, it's hard to rank.
yeah, I'll keep it as unranked. So this is what the tier list looks now. Do you think we should add a tier, or do you think we should move stuff around? I'm leaving it up to you to start.
I'm thinking maybe we turn B tier into E tier, and then we split up C tier into half.
So we split C. So I'll add one here, right?
Yeah, like between C and D currently.
Okay. Let me just see how to add it here. Add a row below. There we go. So this would be D, E.
And I guess real quick we can change the colors.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. There. Oh shit. Let me just look. Okay, so it's green, and I'll put you here. I'll change you to green. Change
And I'm
you.
thinking maybe we can have unranked like gray.
Whoops. Yeah, you're right. This one will be blue. Unranked as gray. Okay. And where am I swapping? Like, where's there a significant difference?
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm thinking maybe simplifier.
Would be the first one here, right?
Yeah, do you think that's fine?
Let me see what it looks like. I can see it. Yeah. Especially because some people that can mash really well, they probably won't see Simplifier as a very valuable badge.
Yeah. Personally, I think it's relatively. You're not going to be using it all the time, but it does have its use case. It does have its niche.
Yeah. Because, yeah, failing a runaway is also a devastating mistake.
Yeah.
Now, I'm still looking. Um, you still think Sleepy Stomp is like the fifth best badge?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, I do think it's either 4 or 5, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. So I'll leave it there. I really do think that Hammerman should be an A, by the way. I don't know if you're hesitating, but I think I really like
I
having
agree.
Hammerman.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list.
Is this too big of a gap between Power Smash and Piercing Blow?
I mean, I honestly don't even think so because, like, sure, they might seem similar on the surface, but actually you use them against completely different enemies. And at the end of the day, Piercing Blow is pretty much just change comp. And it's not even that big of a deal. It is replaceable, even if it does make things easier.
Okay.
Maybe if you want to put it above Jumpman, I could see that.
Um, hmm. You know what? I think I'll keep Jumpman above because we discussed Piercing Blow being like nice to have to accelerate processes, like the accelerate battles against enemies that you could super guard to death. But I feel like Jumpman could actually be pretty much required, maybe for some loadouts where you don't want the battle to drag on at all.
Yeah,
One change I am thinking of, it's not a big one, but it's going this here. I think there is a tier difference between these two. And I think there
I
is.
don't think so. I think both should be F, but if you want to move up one to E, I think you should move up both.
You really think they're that comparable?
Uh, I mean, well, actually, I guess if you're doing a BP only run, you're probably going to be doing P because of like
Yeah.
use Mario's. It's like, well, Flower Chamber Fire Drive isn't exactly good.
No. And I mean,
So,
that's what I
okay, I
used it
guess I
for.
could see moving up only the partner version.
Yeah.
I'm still hesitant on moving it up, but how will you put it there and I'll take a look?
Because the way I viewed the F tier was that badges, I have no clue how you'd use them optimally in pretty much any situation. But this one does have that use in BP only runs.
You know what? I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm fine with it. At the very least, it's like, well, the dodge isn't that good either. I can see it being near it, even if it is literally only for BP only runs.
Hmm. And also, maybe we're future proofing where we can get one of these for free.
Fair enough.
um, yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. I'm just going to compare with my list. Just give me a second.
I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I initially had this one like pretty a lot lower, but you've kind of convinced me that yeah, it could save your run. Do you think that multi bounce and power jump should be closer to each other?
I mean, we discussed that, but I mean, maybe. I guess probably it is fair to put multi-bounce below refund, just because it is really only when it gets spike shield. But refund, you can use it in like any run where you use
Mm-hmm.
items, which is every run.
Yeah, like if you're not getting spike shield, I would put multi bounce in F.
Yeah, still a little uncertain about like the A-tier placements, but I think maybe this is good. Like soft jump versus power jump is a little uncertain.
Yeah, we discussed
If
that.
you really want to be
Yeah,
mean, maybe we put them below Piggy Flower, but I don't think we do.
I think we're like I'm pretty happy with it. There's really not a lot of like really unusable badges in my mind. Um, we found
Yeah,
reasonings for all of these badges that we could use, which is very nice to see. It's not that bottom heavy like we see in the other challenge run tier list.
yeah, there are like legitimately, you do actually legitimately have to pick between your options and choose what you want to equip in early pick rounds.
Mm-hmm. Piercing blow being the king of C. Sorry, power smash being the king of C.
The Gundam uppers are just that scary, man.
It's true. They really suck, man. And you're gonna be really happy to have this once you face those embers without the ultra hammer or coops. All you have is this badge. Yeah, and I'm even thinking if you equip, power smash and hammerman together, let's say you only have 3 BP to use, like you're two-shotting the embers.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dark Koopatrol, for joining me for this tier list. Um,
It was fun.
yeah. And maybe our opinions will change in the future, but for now, it aligns a lot with what I think.
Yeah, we seem to agree on mostly everything.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And I'm glad that we put the Pretty Lucky and Lucky Day like where they deserve to be. They really make a difference in pit runs.
Like, yeah, you can't ever rely on it, but that's not what's important. What's important is the expected overall return over the course of your run.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to get it.
Yeah. And I think even if you weren't taking the Happy Lucky Lottery, if you only got that one lucky day on floor 90, it would still be like at least B tier.
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
And I do want to note, like, we did make certain assumptions about crap, but like, even if we like restrict uh what glitches we can use to get badges, I still don't really think that affects like the tier list all that much.
mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, you can't get a badge, just pretend you don't get it. Like, just pretend it's not on the tier list.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Okay, well, thanks a lot, Dark Patrol. I think I'm going to end the video. Uh, I'll probably post it on my channel once I get to the editing, but I don't think there's much to do there.
Will you not?
Thanks again, man.